Hey guys! What's up? I just got a new mic, so I don't know if it's too loud or too quiet, so you're gonna have to inform me on that. It's 2 a.m. and I'm tired. Oh, it's only 8 p.m. here and I am exhausted. Oh my god, you guys don't even know. It's perfect? Okay, cool. Oh, I'm sorry you have a headache, blankets. Oh. Petting. Yeah, I was just like looking at the comments on Webtoon and people are already like, where's the new episode? What do you mean it's not coming out till the 27th? And I'm like, I feel like I posted this guy like a lot. But yeah, I get it. Some people don't read all the way to the end of the episode or at all. It happens. I'm sure they'll figure it out. Makes me feel bad though, because then I'm like, maybe I should come back a week early. Maybe I should just do 1 week. I can just do 1 week, it's fine. Hey Nika, how's it going, dude? What's up? Phew, I haven't seen you in forever. Where do I donate to Buddy's Fit Fund? Oh, that's just the tip jar. That goes to all his fabulous new outfits. Yeah, no, I do want the break. Like, straight up, guys, I had the ambulance here yesterday, because I actually, like, not passed out, but was in a bad way because of it was complications from an autoimmune disease. So the EMTs had to come and check me out, but luckily, a friend of mine, Sene, has a doctor for a mom who used to work in the emergency room. So I called them, and they got their mom on the phone, who is Italian and Italy, and they translated while their mom put me through like a whole bunch of stuff and was like, I know what's wrong. You're just going to have to sleep it off for the next few days, and this and this, and then do this. And I'm like, wow, I didn't have to go to the ER and spend like $6,000 on an ambulance ride or something. Where are you guys seeing Buddy? All I see is Chase. Oh, he's down here. He's in the corner. Hey, Ruby, how's it going? Hey, Hierophilia, what's going on? I am fine. I am fine. I was talking to Cozy Crow. You may know they do the Blind Prince, and they were like, yeah, you know, you go on hiatus for like just 2 weeks, like you just take a 2-week break so you can like catch up on episodes and get some sleep and stuff, and like a lot of your followers just fall off. I'm like, oh, I hope that doesn't happen. I've been posting stuff every day. The cure is drink water and sleep. Take a full break, woman. Okay, Nika, I will do it for you, but only because like you're awesome, and because I've known you since the 5th grade. Anyways, how's it going, guys? I am like so tired, so don't mind me if I drink a little bit of caffeine. Did you guys try the new Dr. Pepper? Strawberries and cream? This is not an endorsement. I have no endorsements from anybody. I'm not that important. But I just got it at the store and I was like, this is actually pretty good. I download Twitch just to say hi. Hey! Hi, Modra. How's it going? Caramel is here. Berries Every Day is here. Scruffy J is here. Sponsored by Buddy. Oh, he's looking for sponsors. You know, he's always looking for the sponsorships. It is actually... Dragon Scales is actually really good. It's surprisingly good, and I should know because I am obsessed with soda. The Dr. Pepper cream soda. Yeah, I tried it. I thought it was okay, but I don't know. I like the strawberry. Anyway. Ow. Anyways. What does Dr. Pepper taste like? I can't really describe it, dude. You're gonna have to, like, just try it for yourself. It's, I don't know. Somebody else describe it. I'm not good at describing things. And Onyx, we will get to that. I know. Look, check it out. I spent all day compiling questions and printing them out like an old woman, because I'm like 43, so I like to read things on paper. And, hey, stuffy stuff. And, unsolvable complicated riddle. I learned my lesson from Stagtown. Y'all will just solve it in like 10 minutes, no matter how hard I work on it. And, I am 43 blankets. You should wear your sunscreen. I've been doing it since I was 18. So, yeah, he is pretty drippy. Okay, I cannot take credit for the Buddy in the corner with the crown on and everything. That was done in the Discord. Okay, I will say right now, I have my big list of questions. His name is not actually Buddy. That's just a nickname. But I will tell you how he got that nickname, not just in the story, but from me, too. Boo! Hey, Viridian! It's not actually Buddy, sorry. His name is not Buddy. That's just a nickname that Chase gave him. Yeah, it's Gedward, obviously. No, the Buddy supremacy! Look, you guys don't ask if you don't want the answers. Anyways, I am here to present a Q&A for you that I hope you will enjoy. And oh, Gloom, trust me, I have friends that I've told the whole story to, and they know his real name, and they still refer to him as Buddy. And... oh no, I'm sorry, Scruffy. I'm sorry it's so hot. It's actually really cold here. He's got 5 middle names. Hey, Sarkin! Sarkin, I was just thinking about Pete and Pete. Anyways, I have a co-host today. It was my cat, but she was sitting on the chair, but she left. But today's co-host, today's show is brought to you by Like Napple. He just came from the factory all the way from the manufacturer. He's a prototype. It is that brown kitty, yes. Squeaky Business is my cat. Asparagus is a fire name. Y'all are sleeping on it. It is. Anyways, yeah. Just a heads up, I know people asked, will there be a merch shop? Yes, there will. There is merch. Right now I'm getting prototypes sent to me so that I know they're good, because I'm not going to let you guys buy them until I know that they're actual quality. I'm not going to put my name on anything that sucks. Except for all my outfits. But we do have a couple of items here that were shipped to me. We have the Like Napple, of course, and a very beautiful bookmark in the shape of Silver's key. It is a silver bookmark, it's metal, and it has a little pink ribbon. And it is, in fact, life-size to how big the keys should be. Very, very shiny. Very pretty. Let me put it against a dark background so you can see it, like I'm not a total idiot. But it has her key design on it. I think you'll like it very much. Right now I'm talking with them about how to ship it, because I want to make sure it doesn't get bent in any way, because you should not bend metal bookmarks. So I was like, okay, we need to talk to the fulfillment center, and we need to be like, okay, it has to have like a really strong insert. Is Bronze full name Little Bronze? It actually is. We nicknamed him Little Bro for a while. Will there be one for each key? Yes, I hope so. But only if they sell. I mean, I can't make one of each one if nobody buys them. Anyways, so I want to get to... I wrote a whole thing, you guys. I wrote a whole thing. I have been up since... oh my god. Like 8 a.m. working on this, okay? So 12 hours I put into this. Most of it was doing all this nonsense for the graphics. Is it busy enough, or does it need to be busier? I'm such a child when it comes to design. I just love... I'm like Chase, I love bright neon and 80s and all sorts of things. What's with all the keys? You wouldn't understand. Oh, if I had all 12 of them, I'd have them like all hanging on the wall or something. Or I'd get like a big box like Ex Libris kept them in, put them all in there. Anyways. Okay, so first of all, I want to see, I usually just kind of like freeform it, so you know it's important that I actually wrote something down. I want to say thank you for showing up. Thank you everybody for coming. I know it's really late for a lot of people. I saw a lot of people who are overseas and it's like super late for them, but they still showed up anyways, and I really, really appreciate that. And, Scruffy your tunes! I kind of want to yell Scruffy your tunes at people now. I know, it's only 7 there, it's 8 here, but a lot of people, they said they're overseas and it's like 2 a.m. Anyways, so, like I mentioned before, please be patient with me. I did have the EMTs out here with a flippin' ambulance yesterday because I was extremely unwell, but I'm lucky that I didn't actually get hauled off to the hospital or anything, so I am really, really tired and out of it, and, you know, like, kind of dizzy, so if I'm taking a lot of pauses in between questions, I'm trying not to. I'm legit cooking dinner! Good job, Basil Eyes. Toons go crazy. So, yeah. Oh, Hyro, you brought back Darkheart! The guy we kind of low-key based Buddy on. Not so much, but we love Darkheart. Aw, your roommate made you cookies for this? That's so cute. That other person. I'm gonna go directly to sleep after this, just so you know. I'm gonna wash off all this and go to hell to sleep. Anyways, so thank you for your patience. Thank you for coming. Everything. I'm not gonna like call out the names of people who asked these specific questions because a lot of people have done them like not just for this, but like over the months and everything. So I'm just gonna answer them kind of like all at once. Basically, I wanted to tell you, first off, I was talking to Webtoon. Not the entire entity known as Webtoon, but the people over Creator Care. Eunice, Kent, and everybody. I was talking to them, and they pointed out that my readership and my comment section is, as they say, one of the cleanest on Webtoon. As in, one of the nicest and least likely to start arguments or fights or insults or be mean to each other in any way. They were very, very delighted by how supportive everybody was. So I want to give you guys like a little trophy, like cleanest comment section. And they thought it was extremely wholesome. When I told them that by the way, I do read every single comment that you leave. Every single one. And I try my very hardest to leave a like on every single one. Sometimes I miss them if there's like 22 replies nested in there. And sometimes if I hit the button too fast, it might skip it. But I do try my best to leave a like on everyone. And I do read every single comment. Even if it means I gotta stay up a couple hours. I do. And I know Eunice said that I have, quote, a granular knowledge of my readership. She's like, you remember their names? I'm like, oh, I remember their names, their birthdays, who's taking an exam, who did dishes to earn coins for FastPass. And so yeah. Oh, Harley, you made it. Excellent. Yes, everybody can have chocolate gloom. It's because Lycanapple does all the crimes, so we can't. That's right. Lycanapple is so busy doing all the crimes, you guys forget to. Even if my comment section got thousands each episode, I would still read them all in Onyx. I still read all of them, even if it takes me my whole day off. Because I feel like if you took the time to say something to me, I should take the time to read it. And I do give likes even when they're negative comments. Just because you could have just left nothing. You could have just not engaged at all. I'm just glad you did. So, I'm glad that my mom is sick of hearing my theories for this. You know what? So is my mom, and I write the series. The comic is on a 2-week break, so there won't be an episode this week, because we're doing this right now, or next week. But next week we're going to have another live stream, and I'm going to do some live drawings for you, and sketches and things like that, and we're going to do some fun stuff. So, it's only for 2 weeks, I promise. I just really, really, really needed the rest. Like, a lot. I made an OC. I know, look, it's only for 2 weeks. Come on, you can stick it out. Plus, you don't pay anything to read it, so it's not like you're missing anything. Yep, same day and time, berries. It'll be same time as right now, but next Monday. I would boycott the webtoon if you didn't rest. Please don't do that. Speaking of which, I know a lot of people have said, how much does FastPass really help out the creators? It is probably the single one thing that ensures that the series keeps being made. Not a lot of people know how Webtoon actually works. Here's how it works for the originals. Which surprises some people, because some people thought I wasn't getting paid to do this and that I was doing it for clout. I'm like, I would not do anything for 70 hours a week for clout. No. But what happens is it's a lot like a publishing company, like a book publisher. They give you money in advance, a certain amount of money, and you produce the work, and then they put it out there, and then they hope to make the money back by, either selling books or in Webtoon's case, selling FastPass, ads, things like that. So FastPass is the thing that really keeps the series going, because if it's not profitable, it just gets canceled, and you can understand, it's not like, oh, we can't have nice things. It's, they can't keep dumping money into something that's losing them money. That's just bad business. Then they can't pay their editors, they can't pay other people, they got a whole system of people who work there, they got to pay everybody, and my editor deserves to be paid for the work he does. Ad episodes, we're looking into that right now. Don't worry, Harley, we're going to get to that too. But we are looking into the ad episodes for me. It's just with my numbers right now, it's like, they don't really want to do it right now because it would actually end up losing more money. I don't make a lot of money is the thing, guys. The ads really work better on bigger series that have more followers. And I don't really have that many. But the ones that I do have, Webtoon has told me, are remarkably dedicated. Instead of having 400,000 followers who are like, I kind of catch this when I can. Sometimes I forget to check it for a couple of weeks. Instead, I have, a couple thousand core followers who are very into it. And I actually honestly prefer that. I'd rather be a very important series to just a couple people than a kind of series to a lot of people. What will you do if it ever gets canceled? Well, we'll get to that. But yeah. Oh dear, Shadow's mirror can't see. Somebody help them out. I think they're not clicked on it. Oh dear. Anyways, but here's the thing. I know that a lot of you are very young, and I can't, it's not fair to say you should be fast passing. Some people just don't have the money for that. And that's not their fault. Either they're young, they don't have a job, or maybe they do have a job, but they gotta make ends meet. Totally fine. There is another way that you can completely, support this series without actually paying for it, and it is called the WUB. It's an actual word that Webtoon uses. The WUB stands for Weekly Unique Browser Hits. All you gotta do is come back every week and click on the episode. Yes, it actually is called WUB. Is it backwards? Oh, that's right, I flipped here. There. Thank God I did it in marker. I forgot I flipped the screen. WUB, WUB, WUB. Yeah, man, seriously, join the WUB club, my friends. So, here's the thing. They do take that into account. Sorry, I'm trying to read and also talk to you. WUB, WUB, WUB. It's the WUB club. It is the WUB club. They do take the WUB into account when renewing series. Stagtown wasn't very profitable in the first season at all because it was horror and it was very, very niche. But it had a pretty high WUB, so they let it keep going. And they were, they were glad that they did in the end because it ended up paying off and people really liked it. Wubology, the study of WUB. But yeah, so just if you're like, I really want to support the series, but look, I just don't have the money. Just join the WUB club, my friends. Just come back every week. Click on the episodes. Make sure you leave a like. Rate the series 10 so that the rating gets higher. Any kind of engagement will help out. Probably the most important thing you can do is just tell people about it on other platforms. If you want to write a fanfic or draw a piece of fan art or just grab a bunch of, shots from an episode and throw an edit together and put it on TikTok. That sort of thing. Does coming back every day work? Hey, it gets you in the WUB club, my friend. I love how we went from horror to unicorns chasing Deacon. Yeah, we're gonna get into that. You know, Blob, everybody I know, like, all the commenters are like, I don't actually like horror, but I do like Stagtown. And I like that. That's like a real testament to me. And she loves Buddy now. Unicorns are scary. Oh, hey, Kuro. I'm just about ready to reintroduce my Patreon at the end of this week. Yay. So it's going to be really fun. It does have a Discord attached to it, and we have lots of fun in there, and we'll have a lot of other perks and everything, but I will go over that at the time. Need to see that sexy like apple. Wait, you don't think he looks good enough like this? I think they're very sexy. Pineapple. Work it, work it. Get your best angle. Yeah. So anyways. So, that's that. Did all of those things. I have my little piece of paper here. I did mention that I read all comments. I can't always respond to everyone. It just takes way too long, guys. But I do try very hard to respond to people and not respond to the same people every week. So if you didn't get a response from me this week, I'll try to do one next week, that sort of thing. Did that. Okay. I cannot comment on spoilers. We all know that. So when I answer these questions for you, just keep in mind, if your question didn't get picked, it's maybe either that it was too similar to another question, so it just kind of got lumped in, or it's a spoiler, or that sort of thing. I have to be super careful because I am really bad at blurting out spoilers. So let's see here. Oh, and user Chase Hollow, #1 fan, excellent name. Since the last Q&A post, I'm committed to remind you to show off the beta designs or concept art. I do have those. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you for sticking to your word. Oh no, blankets. I'm sorry. Chase Hollow, like and follow. So yes, I do have original concept art. It's super cringe in my mind, but I'm going to show it to you anyways. Okay, so let's get into the questions. And we're gonna go, the reason it took me so long is I organized them by a certain timeline, an internal logic of how they should go. So I'm not just answering them at random. I did actually I put work into this. I put structure into these 13 pages. Wait, y'all, his name is Charlie, right? Yes. Chase's full name is Charles Everett Hollow, and that's a name that's like a banker's name. But he likes to have the nickname Chase. He thinks it makes it sound cool. Am I the only one who thought Chase was 12 and not 18? You should see the original art. He looks even younger. It's kind of funny. Bro has a pop star name already. You know, I've noticed that people tend to assume characters are around their age, especially if they identify with that character or that character is the protagonist. In Stagtown, I noticed fans that I knew for a fact were older would identify the cast as being older, whereas fans who are much younger would even identify them as not even being out of high school, despite the fact that Frankie clearly stated she was home from college and she was living on her own in her own apartment. So they're like, I thought she was 16. And I was like, question, are you 16? And they're like, yes, I am. How did you know? I'm like, we tend to do that. We tend to kind of put the characters mentally where we are because we identify with them more, I guess. So, and get past for the same age. Does Chase canonically have baby cheeks? He canonically has very good skin, but that's because he takes so good on it. Sugarodu, I have your question in the queue. Don't worry. I'm getting to that. Anyways, so, first question is from Nova V. What inspired you to make the comic? And related question from Ophid. What inspired you to switch from horror to romance? And Basil Eyes, also kind of related. What was your inspiration for this story? it's such a cool concept, and I am curious what your inspiration was, how you began plotting, character designs, etc. So, those are all kind of the same question in different ways. So, here's what happened, and this is kind of like a nuts story. Like, this isn't just a, well, I was sitting around on one day, and then I came up with an idea, and then I wrote it down, and it was perfect. So... Oh, Chase wishes he could afford to be a Sephora kid. Don't distract me with the chat. Like, I get so distracted with chat. I'm very... Like, ADHD runs in my family. It's very hard for me to concentrate on one thing at a time. But I'm trying. So here's what happened. When I was doing Stagtown, I was really overworked and really, really, really depressed. Because it is a depressing story to work on. You guys, you just read it in, like, 3 minutes, and then you're like, well, I'm done until next week. I have to live with it. Like 70 hours a week in and week out without a day off for 2 years. So, didn't I do Princess Party work? I did, years ago. Anyways, now I'm getting distracted. Point is, and this is related, the reason Chase has celiac in the story is because I have celiac. But at the time, when I was doing Stagtown, I didn't know. I had undiagnosed autoimmune disease. And I was getting sicker and sicker from it all the time. And the effects are not just physical, but mental. You can actually go into like a flippin' psychotic storm if you get serious. Like, it is very, very bad. It is not to be played around with. People can die from undiagnosed celiac if they have it severely enough. What it is, it's not an allergy, it's an autoimmune disease where if you're exposed to gluten, any kind, like a crumb of bread smaller than the head of a pin, swallowing it is bad. And what it does is it causes your immune system to start eating your internal organs alive because it thinks that they're intruders. It kind of like, it's like a virus getting into your computer, and the computer, instead of like only attacking bad things that are coming in, just starts attacking all your programs. Like Photoshop, that's an invader, kill it! Mostly it does this to the parts of your body that absorb nutrients from food. So once those are destroyed, you're not getting any more nutrients from the food you're eating, so you're basically starving. So, how did you go undiagnosed? Well, I lost a quarter of my body weight, and a lot of my hair fell out. And all my nails started breaking. I was starving, basically. But I didn't know what was wrong with me, and the doctors didn't know either. They thought it was like, they thought it was cancer. They said to me, Dr. Ducker says, like, I'm not going to tell you what I think it is right now because I don't want you to go home and Google it and get scared. And I'm like, wow, that doesn't make me feel better at all. It was pretty terrible. Hope people with that thing are okay. No, well, I know it does escalate, but it's okay. It is manageable as long as you stick to a really strict diet. But at the time, I didn't know I had it. You have to do a blood test and all this. So I was getting sicker and sicker while working on Stagtown. I was feeling completely miserable and depressed and so unhappy. And during the break between seasons 1 and 2, I visited the LA offices of Webtoon because they had like a big party for everybody to come out and go to the local convention and then go to the offices. And it's really cool there. They have like big murals of different Webtoons on the wall. It's really cool. And I was like sick as a dog, like literally just wanting to throw up after every meal. I didn't know what was wrong with me, and they didn't know either. And finally I went and found out. But before then, I was so unhappy. And I said to David, he was head editor at the time. He's a nice guy. I said, David, he said, well, you can do another season of Stagtown. It'll be fine. It's doing well. You can keep doing that. And I said, no, David, I want to do something fun. Like, something to get me out of this pit of misery, David. People shouldn't be crying while doing their job every day. Like, I am so miserable you don't understand how bad it is. It's horrible, and I live alone, and my cat doesn't understand me. And I showed him an old series that I had done called Toyetica, and I said, look at this, like, something like this. Could I do something like this after Stagtown if I just wrap it up in another season? And he looked at it and he was like, "This isn't horror." I'm like, no, it's comedy. Like, I want to do a comedy. And he's like, yeah. And he said what a lot of editors in publishing say, which is, I don't know if it's good for you to switch genres. Your fans might not follow you. Like, they might be like, well, we only wanted you to see you do the one thing, which is a totally valid response. But and he'd never seen me do comedy. And I was like, David, I used to do stand-up and improv, like, at cons and stuff. Like, I can do comedy. And he's like, you know, we really need people to fill out the horror genre more. I mean, like, you'd have a steady job just doing that. You really want to take that chance? And I was like, and he's like, I just don't know if it's the right time. And to be fair, don't be like, boo, David is bad. He was making a sound decision at the time. But, so, oh yeah, I used to be a performer, Coroni girl. I used to work as a princess entertainer. Like, it was like Elsa and Snow White and Cinderella. And I used to entertain at, like, the local children's hospitals, at, like, public events, at private parties and everything. And they always hired me when they would be like, we want that funny princess, like, the one who makes jokes. They like us. That's how I stood out from all the other princesses. They were just like, it's a really funny one. And so oh, Bizengas. Somebody mentioned Bizengas. That's the first series I worked on ever with Tokyo Pop it launched in 2006. I just saw somebody was like, did you know there's fanfic of it still on AO3? I'm like, oh, really? I thought fanfic of Bizengas, like, died on fanfiction.net. But no, it's there, and somebody just posted one, like, late last year, and I was like, people are still posting about that. It was like the sad crying happy meme, like, I'm so happy. That's so nice that they remember it. And even though it looked like garbage, and I will never admit I drew it. Yeah, Siri, you know me, so you know I can do comedy. But David had only known me for like a year or so. Anyways, point was, I flew home super, super miserable, like, and completely overworked. And to this day, I keep this thing on right here on my corkboard to remind me never to overwork myself like that again. You think I work hard on Cinderella Boy? It was nothing compared to what I did to Stagtown, because I did all the backgrounds by hand. I didn't have someone helping me. Like, I now have a assistant who helps me a little named Ryaki. Look at this. This is a card that I had stuck in my bag. I know it's backwards. It is a piece of paper. It says, needed 14 hours red line, 20 hours ink. Flight 1, because I had a layover, to LA, 6 hours. Ink, non-comp panels. Flight 2, 5 hours. Ink, rest of simple panels. 1 hour in airport, finish ink. 3 hours in airport, layover, leave hotel early. Friday at LA, no time. Saturday at LA, evening booked, work until then. I had scheduled every last hour that I was away from my house and gone across the country to LA, even on the planes and in the airport, to work, and left events early to go back to my hotel room to work. Never again. I was so sick. By the way, did you know that celiac disease is hereditary, but it can completely pass you by, but it can also get triggered in older people by extreme stress or trauma. My doctor basically all but confirmed that I have a permanent disease now from working too hard on Stagtown. That's why I hate Stagtown! It made it so I can't eat bread anymore! I wonder where that came from. Yeah. And yeah, no, people would write to me sometimes when I was working on Stagtown. They're like, hey, I'd really love to join your team. I'm like, my what? I do everything myself, friend. There's no team. I can't afford to pay you. So, Stagtown did steal my bread. Turns out the real monster in Stagtown was celiac. So anyways, but I'm getting to how, I want to say chasers. By the way, if you didn't know, Cinderella Boy was on Canvas very briefly under the name Cinderella Chasers. So, to this day, even in our Discord, we refer to Cinderella Boy as Chasers. And so, if you want to be in like the cool kid club, just call it Chasers. because that's the OG name for it. Maybe the real bread was the friends we made along the way. So I read it on Canvas. Chasers was just so much easier. It really is. It's so much easier. So, yes, Stagtown was miserable of a story because I was miserable. All the misery that I was feeling, I put into that story. I hope you all felt it. Anyways, yes, he did have green eyes. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Anyways, so I took the flight home, and it was right around the time when it was like Christmas, New Year's. So I went home to see my family and way up north. And I flew out from their place because it was cheaper. Flew back to their place, had holidays, and then drove my car back down the coast about 5 hours to my home. So on the way home, this is great. So I'm not even centered in the camera. I'm like the worst streamer ever. Oh, did I show you guys? Sorry, to get distracted. Look whose jacket I have. The colors aren't quite right. They're a little too... This looks red. It's actually hot pink in person. But yes, I have Chase's jacket. Where do I get it? This is... You don't want to know what I paid to have this made. I got it made from Stagwear. Mwah, pun. Which makes actual Letterman jackets for like schools and everything. Having one single one custom made, you don't even... I saved up for ages to get it. It cost over $200. But I'm going to have a cheaper version of them in my store. Like much cheaper. Much not. They won't be $100. I think you will like it. So, they are really fun, but is it good quality? Yes. Yes, it is. I wore this like in fall. It was very, very comfortable. But the ones in the store will be good quality too. Anyways, so I was driving home and I'm like, this is my feeling sad for myself face while I'm driving. Like, nobody wants to let me draw something that isn't horror. I feel so bad for myself. I am a consistent like talk to selfer. I was just ranting out loud to myself in the car while driving, and. Ava Rosada, you probably made that person's day. Like, this is a cupcake I can actually eat? Oh my god. So, I was like, meh, like, no, like, driving home. And I was just like, I should just write, like, the most mediocre story that, like, all those other ones that are on Webtoon that everybody seems to love, and, like, that would probably do better than any of my horror. People would like that better than the stuff I do now. I'm the worst. Oh, my sadness. My first world problems. And I was just like, I'll just, like, I don't know, write, like, a really mediocre knockoff story. It would probably still do better than what I do now. And I was like, it'll just be like, ooh, I died and was reincarnated into my favorite book, but like now I'm the villainess, but I want to marry the prince. Because like at the time there were a lot of those kind of books coming out of like the Korean market, and they were very popular. So I was like, yeah, like, I fell into a book. Or maybe I don't know, I'll change it up and it'll be like a guy went into a book. Maybe he's got like, I don't know, like a magic key or something, and he just walks it up, and it's not just one book, it's like any book, and when he goes into the key, he can be a part of the story, but he's always the heroine. Oh my god, somebody write this down! Somebody write this down! Like, I was like, no! Hey, Black River, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna record it and you can watch the first part back later. And so I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And I was like, and actually I hit record on my phone because I was using it as like the GPS and everything. And I was like, ah! And I was like, oh my god, okay. So like he has a key, but like he's only ever the heroine. Oh my god, that'll be so hilarious. And then as I was going on, I was writing the whole story in my head, and I was like, you guys don't understand. As miserable and sad and depressed as I was doing Stagtown, it was like a complete 180. I was like, I haven't been this excited and stoked about a story in years. Like, decades? I don't remember the last time I was that excited to write a story, and I was like, I'm like going through the drive-thru, and I'm like not even stopping my notes. I was like, yeah, I'll have the number 4 combo, and then he goes into it. I'm on the phone with somebody, and I was just like, yeah, and I'm like, eating a burger. I'm like, yeah, and there's this, like, other guy who's, like, his nemesis, and he's got, like, the villainous key, and, like, he's always showing up and getting in this guy's way, and the guy, like, the main character's name is Chance. No, wait, I know a guy named Chance, and I hate that guy. Chase. That sounds better. Okay, so his name is, like, Chase, and the other guy is, like, always getting in his way, and he's just like, listen here, buddy, you better stay out of my way. Just leave me alone, buddy. And my friend was like, I'm confused. Is the villain actually named Buddy? I was like, no. Yes! Oh my god, yes! So, like, Buddy got his name from Chase the same way he got it from me. We both say buddy and pal to people all the time, and I said it so much it ended up becoming his name. I hate Chance! Exactly. And so I was just like, no, oh my god, no. And so, I do have a buddy icon in the corner. Buddy, pal, chum. Yeah, and so I was just like, oh my god. And so I was like, yeah, it's gonna be like an isekai story, but like, totally a parody of it, because all the isekai stories, they're like, ooh, I went into the book and now I have prior knowledge of what happens. But Chase doesn't read at all, and he's like, I don't care about the book, so he never knows what happens. Even when people are telling him. He's just like, whatever, I'll just wing it. And so I was like writing the story on the drive home, and I was so excited. I was like, oh my god, I want to do this story like so bad. But, like, I can't because I'm working on Stagtown. I was like, oh, but wouldn't it be cool? But wouldn't it be so cool? And, no, he's definitely not a bookworm. And so I was just like, oh my god. And I was going through, I was stopped at, because I'm driving down the East Coast. I was stopped at a stoplight. And I was like, yeah, and he's got, like a little helper. Like a little... Yeah, like, like the key can turn into a little person. Yeah, like a little, like she's a little heroine. And her name is, and I swear to you guys, hand to God, I was stopped at the stoplight, and this, what's it called with the clothes? Dry cleaning van goes through the intersection the other way. And I see on the side of the van, it's like, A1 dry cleaners or whatever. And it's got their number and their location. And they're located in Little Silver, New Jersey. And I was like, oh, yes, that's her name. There is actually a town called Little Silver, New Jersey. And Silver is actually named after that. So Silver is canonically a Jersey girl. And, her name is Toyota. Yes, no, there is actually a Little Silver, New Jersey. And that's who she's named after. So weird. And so as soon as I got home, I went and like ranted about this to my friends. I was just like, oh my god. And they're like, yeah, but can you do this on top of another series? I'm like, no. And so like, as soon as I was so excited, I like got super depressed again, because I was like, there's no way I can ever work on this. They already said they don't want to see something funny from me. Like, they said that I won't be able to get the numbers for it. And when would I ever have time to work on this? I don't even have the money to take any more than like another 2 weeks off for hiatus between series. I have to keep working. And I gotta keep doing Stagtown Season 2. I'm never gonna be able to have the time. And then my brain was like, but what if? And I'm like, shut up, brain. What do you want me to do? Put 70 hours of work a week into Stagtown? And then another 30 to 35 hours a week on top of it, doing this other nonsense series that probably won't even happen. And my brain was like, yeah. I was like, it's crazy. Nobody can work that hard for months and months. I can't. But let's do it anyways. And so I sat down, I was like, all right, if we're going to do this, we're going to be smart about this. And I spent the rest of my hiatus that I was supposed to be resting. I went online and I watched, it was like I was back in high school. I opened up a notebook, I sat there and I watched every tutorial. I signed up for every Skillshare class. I did everything on how to use Clip Studio and all the different programs that all the top webtoons use, like just trying to find easier ways to do things and shortcuts. And every day I would find a new one, and I would go tell my friends, I'm like, guys, did you know that you can just do this? And like, it'll cut like 3 hours off my week. I didn't know that there was just a shortcut for doing that, or like an auto action right there in Clip Studio. Oh my God. And because I said to them, how does everybody else work so hard? And but I work so hard, but I seem to get so little done compared to them. I feel like everybody's got the job of carrying water from a river, and I've got a spoon and everybody else has a bucket. And I'm like, where did you get the bucket? And they're like, I got it at the bucket store. And I'm like, there's a bucket store? And so every time I discovered a new way to do something a little bit more efficiently, I'm like, guys, I just discovered another bucket. This may be 2 buckets. And so I was like, there's a bucket store. And so I sat down and I was like, all right, if we're going to do this, we're going to be smart about this. I'm going to do Stagtown as efficiently as I can. I'm going to learn all these tricks to do it more efficiently. I'm going to cut down, let's see if I can cut down 12 hours off of that a week. Let's see if I can cut Stagtown down to 60 to 65 hours a week. And this new series, when I work on it, will be maybe 25 hours a week. And I said to myself, like, what's the point? Because David said that, like, well, you can't get the numbers. They don't want to see it because they think that my readers from Stagtown won't read a new comedy series from me. So I won't have any readership. And I just thought, well, the hell with that. Why don't I just get new ones? He doesn't have to know. And so I went on Canvas under an assumed name, under the creator name of Talk, and made up a little persona, and I started posting the comic anonymously. And girl, wait to hear about kegs. I got this at the bucket store. It was, I won't lie to you guys, if you really want something in life, it is a lot of work. You have to work very, very hard for it. We first started conceiving Cinderella Boy in 2022, and I spent months and months with my friends. After hours, when I was done working on Stagtown, I was like, okay, here's the story. That's why my friends Sene and Karen always get like joke credits in the beginning of every episode, because we had a private Discord. We used to hang out and just chat, and they helped me. They're both writers. They helped me like, okay, tell me the conflict for this character. Tell me the story arc for this character. What motivates them? How can you help? How can you do this? How can you do that? Tell me their top 10 positive traits and top 10 negative traits and how they relate to other people. Like, I have hours and hours recorded of us talking about this stuff. And so I was just like, I came here for peak BL. Don't worry, you will. And so, yeah, no, best friend awards do go to Sene and Karen. They sent me like care packages when they were really worried about me, when I was really tired and stressed out from Stagtown. They were always there to support, and I still bounce ideas off of them occasionally now. They don't really do anything to work on the series through the week, but I still ask them like, hey, do you think like this panel looks okay or whatever? Like, they're constant advisors. But it was, it's not like in the movies where you just have a montage of you doing hard things and it's over in like 5 minutes. Once I started working on the episodes, it was work 12 hours a day on Stagtown, and then go, oh, finally my work is done. Well, time to work, and then switch right over to Cinderella Boy, put another 4 hours in at least that night, every day. And I would fall asleep at my desk. I would fall asleep with my pen in my hand, and I would be so exhausted, and I would just wake up like, I can't do this. I'm so tired. And I had a picture on the wall of the whole cast. It's like the old like do it for her kind of meme. And I would look at it and go, and just keep going. And yeah, I wish all the hard things were a montage too, Gloom. And yeah, if you want things to be done, watching other people do hard things, it's so much easier. You think like, oh, well, yeah, it's hard work, but I could do that too. When you're really mired in it and every single brain cell in you is like, dude, just give up. It's too hard. Just give up. But I learned a long time ago when I was on a show on the Sci-Fi Channel called Cosplay Melee, just how much people are capable of. You don't know what you're capable of until you're in a situation where people won't let you quit and you have to keep going. Because you will quit and say, I gave 100% long before you've actually given 100%. I was on... oh, Ruby, I'm sorry. Ruby, hang on. If you have to leave soon... I know, the story is getting kind of long. I will find your question, because I have a question from you, and answer it before you leave. How about that? I know I have one in here. Oh no, unless I accidentally combined it with someone else's. Oh dear. Sorry, there's like a lot of them. But yes, that's how the series got started. I said if they're not going to give me a chance, then I will do it myself. Oh no, Ruby, I think didn't I answer your question directly? If not, ask it in the chat right now. Yeah, I wish hard work was a montage, but it isn't. Hey, Star Swirl. It was so exhausting, and then when I put it up on Canvas, I was so nervous because I had just killed myself. Oh, thanks, Siri. I had just killed myself working for months on this. Does Buddy get a sad backstory? Oh, that's why I couldn't answer it, because I put it under spoiler territory. Buddy, let's just say Buddy's going through some stuff. Let's just say that and leave it at that. But look, it's a comedy, guys. It's never gonna get like super angsty and like everything is doom and gloom and everything. It's still a comedy. I try to keep it as light as possible while still having character development. But no, he's not dead. He's not dead, guys. Oh, Sugaroto, the Greek songs, yeah, that's actually just an image pack that somebody released to webtoon artists and said, here, go ahead and use this for like old-looking books. Apparently they were Greek. I had no idea what it meant. I didn't know it actually said anything. Because I saw it on webtoon. Nice. So, yeah, you gotta form a buddy protection squad and give them lots of chocolate bars. So yeah, I posted it on Canvas, and I was a nervous wreck, and I sat there like, what, I've been in the comics industry for almost 2 decades. I sat there like, oh my god, I got like 10 followers. Oh my gosh, I got 11. And the first couple of days, I was sitting there watching it to get up to like 35 subscribers, and like being really happy people were reading it, and then I realized it was kind of like stagnating, and I was like, what's happening? Like, I was like, Sene, Charon, back me up on this. They're like, it's fine. It's gonna take a while. It's not gonna take off the first day. I'm like, I know that. But it's been like 6 days, and it seems like nobody is really reading it except my friends who promised to read it. And they're like, dude, just calm down. I was like, no, look, I worked for months and months for like 100-hour weeks. You don't understand. I'm an absolute physical wreck. And it was right at that point that I found out I had celiac, and I was like, oh, that's why I'm actually starving. And, no, it was always going to be a comedy, Fiddlesticks. It has romance elements in it, but it was always going to be a comedy. Yeah, oh, that's why. So I was watching it for 6 days, and I was like, and then, like, after 2 weeks, I was like, it's not going anywhere, guys. Like, nobody's really reading it. And they're like, dude, just trust the process or whatever. And I was like, after like 2.5 weeks, I was like, I knew it. I'm a failure. I wasted all that time. Everybody was right about me. I can't write comedy. They were all right. I just wasted all my time for nothing. And I got really, really upset. And I went, like, laid in my bed and boo-hooed for a while. And then I looked it up, like, next couple of days I would look at it and I would be like, everybody was right about me. I can't write comedy. Nobody likes this. I was so wrong. Why did I waste all that time? David was right. And then I, like, got up one day and I was, like, dragging myself to the refrigerator, like, I'm gonna eat pizza out of the fridge. And I went and sat down and I signed into the Discord for me and Sene and Karen. I was like, put on my headphones. I was like, hey guys, how's it going? Because we're usually chatting in the channels. And they're like, how's it going? And I was like, what do you want? And they're like, dude, are you looking at your series? I'm like, no, I don't want to. I'm sad. And I'm going to angrily eat pizza. And they're like, well, why don't you go look? And I looked and I was like, and it was like the subscriber numbers were just going up and up and up. And I was like 1,000 subscribers. Like, where are they all coming from? And they're like, you made the front page of the app, dude. You're in like best of Canvas. And I was like, oh my God, no. And they're like, see, you just had to trust the process, you idiot. And I was like, oh my God. And it stayed in that category for 3 days. And then it was like Canvas Spotlight and then like Editor Pick and then like What's Hot and like Friday Pick. And it just kept staying on the front page over and over. And I was like, oh my God. And it only got up to about 12 episodes before it was time for me to go back to LA again for the next con. And I saw David and I was just like, so David, I have something for you. And he's like, what? I'm like, you know that comedy that I kind of wanted to write? Well, I put it on Canvas. He's like, oh, okay, you put some episodes on Canvas? I'm like, hey, this was a lot of work. It's called Cinderella Chasers. And one of the other editors was like, wait, you wrote Chasers? I read that. And I was like, oh my God, you've heard of it? They're like, yeah. And I was like, David, look at the numbers. And I like showed him the numbers and he's like, this cannot just be from 1 month. And I'm like, it's from last month, fool. And he's like, no. Bye, Kaimodra. I'm sorry, we haven't gotten to the questions yet. I was still talking about the background. I'm going to put up the recording tomorrow, guys. Promise. And I was just like, no. And David was like, oh my God, wow. That's... How many episodes are up? I'm like 11? It's only been up for like a handful. It's been up for like 2-3 months. And I do... It's actually half an episode broken up. Because I only had time to do like half an episode each week. So it was like 22 panels instead of 45. And so... And so he was like, oh. And he was like talking to other people. They're like, yeah, I heard of that series. Like, I didn't know you were doing. And he's like, wait, you were doing this on top of Stagtown the whole time? I was like, yes, David. So are you going to read it or not? And he's like, okay, well, oh yeah, send me the pitch packet as soon as you get home. I was like, yes, because I am a professional and I certainly wouldn't have flown all the way out here and told you about this without putting together a pitch packet beforehand, because I'm very smart and very well prepared. So as soon as I get home from this trip, I will send you that. And then like on the plane ride home, I'm like drawing on my tablet, like, oh, pitch packet, and like writing things out. But I got it done and they liked it. Moral of the story, hard work. Hopefully you'll get to my question. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, now we're gonna get to questions. That's the backstory. That's how it works. What inspired you to switch from horror to romance? You just heard. It's actually a comedy with romance. Like, if it were romance, it would be in the romance category, and between you and me, I'd be making a lot more money and have a lot more followers, but it wasn't worth it for me because I wanted to do a comedy. I didn't want it to get lost in the shuffle of people just looking for the next romance junkie fix. Like, it's very hard to stand out in that category, and I'd rather have a small, dedicated readership in comedy. It still has romance in it, it's just I wanted it to be a comedy more. Wait, what's a pitch packet? A pitch packet is what, it's a com-rom, it is. A pitch packet is what you give to a company when you want to, like, sell your series. It shows, like, what the whole thing is about. It boils it down in one sheet, and then it goes into detail. It shows all the characters, what they look like. Basically, like, to pitch the series to a company. And so it's like pitch deck, pitch packet, whatever it's called. Was it worth it to work 2 webcomics at once? It was, because if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be doing Chasers Cinderella Boy now. And I love working on Cinderella Boy. Like, as much as I was exhausted and hated working on Stagtown, every time I was done with an episode at Stagtown, I would take the script that I printed out for it and be like, done! Only 12 more! Like, I was literally counting down the episodes. Like, some people said the ending felt a little bit rushed, and I was like, dude, I was crawling to the finish to finish that series. I was so sick. And just the fact that it got done at all was a miracle. And, how long do you think you'll go for today? We'll be here, maybe another hour, Harley. So, And they had offered you after season 3. Okay. I'll get to that because it's a little bit rushed, that's the point. I thought it felt okay. Some people, maybe it was the serialization format, they just felt like there should have been more episodes, I don't know. Will you ever release Stagtown and Cinderella Boy as books? Stagtown is actually in the process of being made into a series of books. So... Oh, Sugaroto, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for the beginning story to take so long. I know I had a question from you in here. I wanted to read it for you. But there are so many of them. But I'm just going to go through them very quickly. They're not going to take as long as the opening story did. Where is Sugaroto's question? I had one, unless I answered it directly on the site. Or I'm just missing it. It may be. I'm really tired. Reading is hard right now. If there was a question, I think I must have answered it directly on the site. So let's just get to the questions. That is how I did the story. Ugh, God. Somebody get rid of that ad. So, alright, so that's what happened with those questions. Let's see here. Captain Beewee says, Happy holidaying, Punko. How long do you envisage Cinderella Boy being? Have you got the ending planned already? Have we got a lot of new characters to look forward to? And Rick E.J. asks a similar question. When writing a story, how much plot do you have planned out before you even publish the first episode? And how much stuff is improvised along the way? And Roach Eater 69 asks similar. Do you have the whole story written out already, or are you making it up on the fly? Here is the thing. We are not allowed to start doing a webtoon for originals until we show the entire story. You don't have to have it set in stone. You can move things around in the middle maybe, but there needs to be a definite beginning, middle, and end, and you have to provide what are called story beats. So every episode in season 1 must be listed, and then it's like episode 1, we are introduced to main character. We see him at school. He runs into this bully he knows. Fighting ensues. Episode 2, he goes home and tells his grandmother. Blah, blah, blah. Episode 3, those are story beats. They show just a quick summary of what happens in every single episode. I had to provide them for 2 seasons. Harley, I don't know if I have that one. I thought I had one from Harley. If not, I will go back onto the app later and find yours and answer it from Spooky. Yes, you do have to show the entire story. It's not just strict. That's for all creation. If you want to publish a book, you have to tell them what it's going to be like from beginning to end. You don't get they'll be like, here, go ahead and write it and like make it up as you go along. If you want to have a TV show, if you want to have a movie, you have to show the whole thing. People have to know how it's going to end. And so, also, that's just how stories are written, guys. Like, I know, like, if you're, like, an amateur writer or you're just writing a fanfic or something, you can write what's called, like, procedural writing, where you just write it and make it up on the fly. But that's a really bad way to write, because later, you might write yourself into a corner and have a really hard time writing yourself out, but you've already committed to the story you already put out. Or you'll get to near the end and you'll be like, oh, you know what would have been really amazing if I had put this earlier in the story, but it's too late because you already put it out there. You should always, there's a Pixar storytelling rule, which is like, don't start writing the story unless you already know how it's going to end. And that is a rule of thumb for all writers. You should know. That doesn't mean you can't. Do people think people publishing comics make it up as they go? They absolutely do. When I was doing Stagtown, people, they would guess something that had happened. It was already in FastPass, actually, but they would guess it ahead of time, and then when they saw it in another episode, they're like, she took my idea! I'm like, nah, dude, like, this was months ago. Like, months and months. There is no way. When we do pre-production on a series, it's not uncommon to have up to 15 episodes turned in before the series even starts, and to keep that buffer going the whole time. I had to have the first 8 episodes turned in, or 9, and I also had to have the first 6 minutely looked at by a team of 5 or 6 editors who went over the whole thing with a fine-tooth comb, and I got pages and pages of feedback about it, had to go over it, do a little tightening up on things, a little bit of rewriting, changing around some angles that they thought kind of like didn't really flow, editor stuff. Did you get Deacon's design for Stagtown, or was it a little Easter egg? No, that was Deacon. That was at the end of Stagtown. I was working on this, and so Deacon actually does appear in Stagtown, getting punched in the face. Do they let you do like main plot point fillers, then main plot point, or do you have to have every episode defined? No, you can be a little bit loose with it. And there are some things in here that, in Cinderella Boy, where I was like, you know, this episode arc would be a little bit better if it came after this one. So they're still written, but I'm playing with like exactly when they happen. I'm like, I think it would be more impactful to move it up a little bit closer, that sort of thing. Oh, there's several, I can't think of the word, cameos of Cinderella Boy characters in Stagtown. 2 of them are from characters, one character you won't even meet until season 2, and one you won't even meet until season 3, if there is a season 3. It's way ahead. So with that in mind, so, no, we do not make it up on the fly. We're actually not allowed. Because they don't want to pour a lot of money into something, like, I could tell you publishing stories from, like, traditional publishing, like book publishing, where they gave money to somebody because they managed to BS their way, like, oh, yeah, I got this great idea, and it's going to do this and that, but they didn't really have a lot of it written, but they'd written all these other books before, so, you know, just let them do it. And then they ended up with an absolutely terrible book because they actually didn't nail this person down on exactly what was going to happen, and they had to cancel it, and it cost them a ton of money, and that sort of thing. Okay, so there's a season 3. There's a season 3 if you guys fast pass, and also, as I said, join the WUB Club, the weekly unique browser hits club, and come back every week. I see so many people say, oh, I just binge on Webtoon. I don't come back until there's at least 40 episodes, and then I binge them all at once. I'm like, that is the fastest way to kill a series. You're basically telling the people watching the weekly unique browser hits, like, wow, this person only visited this once. I guess they don't like it. Even though they might be like, oh yeah, I totally loved it, but you only binged it once. So they don't know. For all they know, you only looked at it once and you hated it. So, the more it gets fast passed, the more episodes they'll keep giving you seasons as long as the series is still profitable. Although they offered me a season 3 for Stagtown, but I was so dead physically and mentally that I could not do it. And also I felt that I did not have enough content for, I was like, maybe I could pull out another half a season, and then the rest would just be useless filler. And I'm not going to make people pay money to fast pass filler. I said, it ends when it ends. It's like how I would love there to be a season 3 of Gravity Falls, but Alex Hirsch said, look, there's enough material for 2 seasons. That's what I wanted to do. And that's where it ends. Unlike shows like, I don't know, Adventure Time or something, where it's like season 57, and I'm like, I don't even know where this show is going anymore. Like, I would rather people say, I wish there was more of this, than ever say, like, why is this still going? Does rereading help? Yeah, I mean, just leaving likes and... Sorry, I had to move for a minute. Just leaving likes and visiting every week, engaging, mentioning it on, like, social media. I saw a big, like, bump in my numbers, and I said, I wonder what did I do that actually made that happen? And a friend of mine who does marketing on TikTok was like, well, I've seen people start to make videos about it on TikTok, and it's starting to organically spread out, and more people are joining that little Tumblr community I told you about. I keep seeing more and more, and they're always new names instead of the same old names, and that's probably what's helping. And I was like, no way. Awesome. Great job, guys. Definitely leave a like on every episode. It costs you nothing, and you know what? It makes Like Napple really happy. More likes for the pineapple, more crimes to commit. Cinderella Boy TikTok edits go hard. I'm not a boomer. I'm actually a millennial, but I was like, I'm such a boomer about TikTok. I need to use it more. I go on there for some things, but... Anyways. Let's see here. Okay. Do you already have the other keys designs planned out? Yes. Yes, I do. That's from Fruit Jam. Weirdo asks, who was the first character you created and who do you relate to the most? Both the same one? Chase. If you couldn't tell from the backdrop of my stream, I love 80s neon. I have like a boombox over here. Chase is very me. Although we're very different in some ways. I love to read, and of course he does not. I was never a fan of boy bands when I was younger, and of course he is. I don't care very much about performing music. I tried to learn a couple of instruments, but I'm not very good at it. And of course, he loves to learn. So, I'm gonna post my fan art of your characters on Instagram. Of course! Go ahead and tag me on there. I'm fun with Punko on Instagram, too. Punko is gender bend Chase. Somebody actually made a joke about that. I have a video of me dressed up as Chase with somebody else who was also dressed as Chase, and this was back when we were on campus. It was just, you know, some people that I knew got together and we all did like a little group just for funsies. And we were doing a dumb little dance. Does Chase have a canon sexuality? Yes, Chase is gay. If you couldn't tell from the body pillow of Alistair and wanting to marry a male vampire and the 15-step skincare routine and his utter burn on his aunt's interior decorating. Yes, he's gay. His family knows, like, they all know. They don't care. Grandpa even washed that pillowcase of Alistair. By the way, do you know who Grandpa Ralph is based on?
Your dad.
My late father, Colonel Ralph LeGros. So if sorry, there's a ring light, but if Grandpa Ralph existed in real life, he'd look like that. That man has no street bone in his body. Grandpa Ralph does not know about the shrine. Oh, I thought you meant it's my dad. Oh my god, I do not have an urn of my father. My cat, yes, but not my father. Why do you look like Ben 10's grandpa? My dad was in the military for a long time. It actually was his birthday on the 11th, just recently. So when I'm feeling better this week, I'm going to drive down to Arlington and bring him some flowers. My dad died of cancer, and then a few years later, my mom was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. So if people say Punko is gender bend Chase, Punko has based a lot of this story on very, very real events. And they do look alike. Although if my father knew that I drew him doing yoga, he would come back from the grave and kick my ass. Alright, let's see here. Look, I'm just gonna say right now, you've seen the way Buddy stands in those outfits. He's not straight. Love Grandpa Ralph. No, I remember when he was really sick and I told him that I would put him in a story someday. And I did. Although he'd probably think it was funny after he got done being mad about it. Your dad was amazing. Yeah, Nika has known me since we were 10. Yeah, he was a good dad. Nika, you're lucky he didn't come over and offer to build your dad a deck. That was how my father made friends whenever he met, like, new people who moved into the neighborhood. He would be like, you guys need a deck? And he would, like, end up building them a deck because my dad was a carpenter. And as well as being in the army. They were really nice decks. He built us a deck, too. You know, I think Buddy would also possibly hit on women, but I feel like they're not his first preference. I think he's just like, oh, they take too much time to win over. They're always talking about stuff. Is Frankie ticklish? Oddly enough, she is not. Frankie is an enormous killjoy. Even if they hadn't already settled on the patio. Yeah, you already had that patio. I'll build you a deck. No, that's exactly how it worked, Emerald. You guys, you know, Dan, you really need a deck on the back of the house? Well, I don't know. Let me build you a deck. let me straighten some out for you here, Dan. I'm building you a deck. It's easier to win a guy over by antagonizing him. Alright, so, next, okay, I gotta tick these off, so Wilson Mogilevsky asked, what's your drawing process like? I'm considering going into art when I get older, but there's a lot of things I want to do. Any advice? Practice, practice, practice. Learn how to draw backgrounds, and then everybody will like you. Like, learning how to draw backgrounds is like being that one friend who owns a truck every time somebody wants to move. Suddenly you're everybody's best friend, because you're the only one who owns a truck. I would say it's better to be on time than to be especially talented, because you will cost your company more money being late with things than you could ever make it up by being talented. And that sounds counterintuitive, but I was telling people that 15 years ago, and it's still true today. What I do to draw my webtoon is I work on my iPad Pro. I'm gonna get a new one, this one's kind of old. And I work in Clip Studio, which is a program that is primarily used by webtooners, webtoonists, web people of web. And so I will show you. Oh wait, hang on, I can't. That's a spoiler. I'm like, which episode came out free? Shoot, I forget. Sorry, I try very hard not to show spoilers because I know some people really don't like them, and I don't like doing it. Okay, here, this is a safe episode. I'll show you. This is how we usually do episodes, or at least how I do them. You can see they're actually done in big, long strips. You can see that. I'm holding it up for you. See how, like, the file is in a really big, long strip, and then they get cut up at the end. And, like, not all one big strip. Like, mine usually range between 12 and 16 per episode. But we draw them out like that to kind of space them out, and then they get cut up when they're exported. Dang, that's long. That's a long boy, yeah. Yeah, I had another episode. I had another iPad that was like that. I had 3 days left on the warranty. And I like strolled into the Apple store like, how do you like them apples? Ha! And the quality doesn't get affected. No, it really doesn't. Clip Studio is optimized for webtoon art. And is the Pineapple you? No, the Pineapple is very, very different from me. I have done some. What did I say? Like in a comment, somebody said something about doing crimes, and I was like, I have done some pineapple things in my time, but I would never be that mean. Bless the boat, himbo. So, I do not commit arson. No. Although, when I had a Patreon during Stagtown, people could watch me utterly trespass to get reference sketches for places that I thought were really cool. And in one video, they actually, because I was filming it, they got to watch me getting caught by security and ushered politely out. They were very nice about it. I used to sell a sticker of like a person with a sketchbook under their arm climbing a chain link fence, and it said trespass and sketch fast. Yeah, see, Siri knows it. So, let's see here. Okay, we got that one done. What's your drawing process? Basically, I sketch out storyboards. You can see a couple of them on the creator feed on Webtoon. If you look at some of my past posts, they're kind of really sketchy looking. And then I pencil over them and then do the line art. I want to say inks because I'm so old. I remember when we still drew on paper. And then I will do all the background stuff. And then I will, if I have the money, sometimes, some weeks I don't, but if I do, I hand it off to Ryaki, who is a colorist, who is overseas in Malaysia, and 12 hours ahead of me, so it's kind of awkward, who will then do flat colors for just the characters, and then hand it back to me, and I will do the shading, the tones, the highlights, like all the like shiny gold hair highlights, like in Chase's hair and that sort of thing. Any special effects, all that, and then I do the lettering and the balloons and everything, and then I ship it off and ship it to Spencer, who is my editor, and he notes that it's been turned in, and then it gets put up for you. Don't worry, we're going to get to that question too about Chase's singing. Okay. Let's see here. What's your inspiration for the... Oh, Fishleaf asks, what is your inspiration for the characters' personalities? I think they are so unique in comparison to other stories. I have no idea. They just kind of come out of nowhere, sort of. I know when I made up Chase, he was supposed to be like the anti-book isekai heroine. So, you know, they're always like, oh, I'm not like other girls. I'm shy and introverted and like to read. I'm like, that's like every girl I know. How are you not like other girls? Like, also, like, you like to read, so you're not like other girls? That's so misogynist. Like, the whole not like other girls trope really bugs me. They're like, I'm not like other girls. I have deep thoughts. I'm like, so you're calling every other girl on Earth an idiot, basically. And, it was very, very, like, to the point where one editor, who actually doesn't work at Webtoon anymore, but not because they got fired or anything, when I started Stagtown, they actually said, can we put in, like, a thought bubble for Frankie, like, basically saying that she's not like other girls, because that plays really well with our audiences. They really relate to that. I'm like, so they're all not like other girls? All of them all together? They're all very similarly not like other people. And I said, no, she's in her 20s. People don't think like that in their 20s. Yeah, Black River, that's just what it's like being a writer. One time I had a character that I kept trying to, like, put into a relationship with another character, and it just wasn't, like, it's like the characters wouldn't let me do it. They're like, no, we hate each other. Even though I'm the writer, I should be able to do that, and eventually I had to rewrite it because it just didn't work. So, they're all not like other girls! Yes, everyone is their own person, and you'd be surprised how unique other people are if you get to know them. They're not all ridiculous NPCs. Like Napple isn't like other pineapples. It's a crime apple. Exactly. That's the only one. I'm not like... I had a drawing of Chase being like, I'm not like other girls. Other girls can read. And like... So, like, we had a drawing of him wearing a shirt that says not like other girls. I understand that Chase is, like, kind of like, he's hard to get to know at first. I purposefully made the episode about his mom, episode 10. I didn't put it up front like, here, you should feel sorry for him and relate to him because of this. I wanted people to like him on his own terms and then find out his motivations in life and that he works very hard for his family and that he doesn't have a lot. But I didn't want that to be their first impression of him. I wanted them to like him for who he was. And, you know, it's funny, at first people were like, oh, he's such a jerk and he's so shallow. And I was like, why? Like, why is he a jerk? And they're like, well, he wants to be famous. He wants to be a singer. I'm like, so did Taylor Swift. You don't think she's a jerk and shallow for that? And they're like, well, he also likes his looks. I'm like, why the internet is always telling me to love myself and, like, be confident in myself, but if I start doing it, they call me a jerk? Like, Chase likes himself. He still has lots of insecurities about things. You can tell he hates being short. But, he's just, you know, like, not a lot of, you know, like, people are either gonna like him or hate him at first, but I liked that people stuck around and were like, you know, I changed my mind on this guy. I didn't like him at first, but now I kind of really get him. He's just like a little doofus who's doing his best. Is he actually 5 foot even? I put him between 5'1" and 5'3", but he's just a little guy. Having self-confidence makes you a jerk. Yeah, it's, it really is. It's especially something that follows women around a lot. It's just like, love yourself, girl, love yourself, slay. And it's like, yeah, I feel like I'm really pretty. They're like, wow, vain much? And it's like, am I not allowed to think that? They're like, no, only other people are allowed to tell you that. And then you're supposed to, like, demurely say, no, I'm not. You should never have self-confidence. You should always be trying to have self-confidence and failing over and over. And, Chase does like who he is because he's very confident in himself and he feels like he's confident in his skills, but he does have moments of doubt where he's like, am I really good at what I'm doing? Or like, am I just mediocre? But he doesn't tell them to other people. He keeps it to himself. And, he's just a silly little guy doing little silly guy stuff. He really is. Wait, how tall is Buddy? Taller than Chase. I think, I don't know. I had it written down, but I try not to, like, get too hung up on the numbers of heights and things. I know people love stats, and I love them too, about my favorite characters, but I try not to like hedge myself in on that because Stagtown was such a grind for me because so many fans, or readers at least, got hyper hung up on the details, and it stressed me out. They were like, you know, the banking system in the Northeast works like this, so obviously there'd be a 6-month waiting period before he could. I was like, oh my god. Or like, you know, the tensile strength of a newly bought rope is up to 250 pounds, so assuming Frankie is 5'6" to 5'8" and 160 pounds, it wouldn't have broken. I'm like, oh my god. And I let it all into my head, and I started spiraling to the point where I would just be hyperventilating over, is this right? Is this right? Is somebody gonna notice this? Did I do enough research on this? And it just killed me. So now I'm just like, it's whatever. Like I said to Sene, I was like, I love doing chasers because whatever, like, I don't care. There was one part in this story where it's like, you know, that, I forget if it was on Canvas, they're like, that, you know, that actually isn't how easy it is to do that. I'm like, oh yeah, no, not in real life, but they're in a storybook. Things are always easier in storybooks. People land on an island and then they just throw a hook in the water and then ta-da, they catch a fish. It doesn't take them 3 days. Stuff always just works out in books, you know? They have a suspension of disbelief. So they're in a book, whatever. That was basically why Chase threw Prunella physically out of the house in like episode 2. I was like, you can't even trust the physics in this world. Don't tell me what is or isn't possible in this world. Only I know. And I'm not telling. Being whatever is good. Yeah, horror readers and horror fans tend to be a lot more critical of like, this couldn't work or that couldn't work. I'm like, guys, it's a comedy. Let's not think about it too hard, man. We're having fun. Just headcanon whatever you want. Okay, so did I just say at my child instead of school? Prunella is small and puntable. No, we haven't seen Prunella in a while, but she's coming back. Don't you worry. So, let's see here. Inspiration. Who's your favorite character to draw? I love your webtoon. It's my second favorite. Also, can you say my name if you read my question? That is from Devin Kelly. Devin, this is your question. Who is my favorite character to draw? Definitely Deacon. I don't know why. I feel like he's like the easiest to draw, and he's like a tall, gangly doofus, so it's kind of funny to draw him being awkward about stuff. And so Prunella starts munching all their cereal. Yeah, look at those cats. They're having problems. So yeah, definitely Deacon. I like drawing him a lot. Also, thank you for making me your second favorite webtoon. I'm gonna work hard and maybe someday I'll be your first favorite. This question was brought to you by Devin. Yeah, Devin. What is your favorite color in food, and are there any of the character traits based off people you know? That's from Gothmon. My favorite colors are teal and pink. They come together. I'm sorry, you can't separate them. Which are also Chase's favorite colors. And my favorite food is mango. I like mango smoothies. I like dried mango. Oh, wait, I have a bag of that. Oh, I just got it from Amazon. Oh, I should get into that after this. And I like fresh mango. I like all mango. Character traits based off people you know. A lot of people think writers are like, oh, I'm going to take my friend Dave here, and that's just going to be this person. It's not really that. It's like a little bit of this and a little bit of that kind of all go together sort of thing. Sort of like all characters are kind of a little bit of the author, but not a lot. I don't think I ever laughed so hard. I am so glad. Dos doxies. When I was writing the story, I was like, you know when people are like, oh, this is a comedy comic. And then they read it, and they don't ever laugh out loud once. And I was like, if you went to a comedy movie in theaters that was billed as a comedy, and you didn't laugh out loud once, would you call that a successful movie? So whenever I'm writing the script, I workshop it with my friends who do comedy, and I was just like, guys, we gotta come up with at least one joke that, like, makes people actually laugh out loud. Because I feel like comics don't do that enough. Squilliam Fancy Son. The beach ball one. Alright. Like Napple Accomplice. Excellent name. Who's your favorite character to write and or draw? My favorite character to write is probably Chase, because he says so much nonsense. Draw, I already said Deacon. Chase is fun because he has a lot of, like, weird, like, idiosyncrasies about him. One, you will notice he always answers rhetorical questions as if they're actual questions, and always answers them in the affirmative. Like, I'm not sure if he does that on purpose or if he's just not certain what's a rhetorical question and what's an actual question. But you'll notice he always answers like that, and Buddy actually does it too sometimes. He also has another trait. It's not too much of a spoiler. You're gonna see it when the series returns anyways. He has a weird trait where when he wants something but he knows he shouldn't have it, he projects that want onto other people and then yells at them about it. Like, and then, like, gives them the scolding he knows he should have. So, my friends and I were joking about that. It was just, like, he just goes into the kitchen and sees, like, a cake that his grandpa has made, and then Deacon walks in, he's like, hey, have you seen the car keys? And he's like, Deacon, we can't eat this cake! Grandpa made it for the PTA fair! What's the matter with you? You're so greedy. And he's like, wait, what? Like, we're going by a store and there's like a brand new gaming console in there, and Chase is like, oh, I want that. And Deacon's like, hey, have you seen my wallet? And he's like, Deacon, we can't ask Mom to buy this for us. We can't afford it. Stop being selfish. You're so awful. God, Deacon. And like Deacon's like just kind of like come to live with that, but like it's like the one thing. Sonny was like, when is he gonna do that thing where Chase projects? I'm like, it's coming up, trust me. I love that. Okay, so La Noire, when did you start drawing comics? Do you already have ideas for your next project? How do you manage to finish one episode a week without dying from exhaustion? First started drawing comics professionally in 2005, 2006 for Tokyo Pop. I went to college and got a degree in comic books from Savannah College of Art and Design, graduated 2003. I've been drawing comics since I was 14. I used to go to the comic book store across the street from my high school after school and read comics in there, just sit on the floor with a snack and read all the comics. Joanne let me do it. Even though I didn't have a lot of pocket money, so I bought as many as I could. I couldn't always buy all of them. Do you already have ideas for your next project? Yeah, I'm always thinking ahead on things, but I really kind of want to focus on Cinderella Boy right now because I am having a lot of fun with it. How do you finish one episode a week without dying from exhaustion? Easy. Sometimes I have to take 2-week breaks. I actually did all of Stagtown without ever taking a break, which, and no buffer for episodes at all. I told that to some of the other artists, and they're like, how? And even David was like, all right, you've earned your bragging rights, because I was just like, I always turn things in on time. That's why back in April when I was sick and exhausted and I had to miss a week, I was beating myself up over it, like, all day. I felt horribly guilty because I hate missing deadlines. Like, it's intolerable to me. I once made a Stagtown deadline. I flew home from that LA trip with COVID. I didn't know I had COVID until I was in the airport, and I was incredibly sick from it. I had 100-something degree fever, but I was already on my way home. I had an episode to turn in within 2 hours, and I had a 15-minute layover in Chicago Midway. I was finishing the episode on the first flight and lettering it, got to the airport, and in that 15 minutes got on their crappy free Wi-Fi and uploaded it to Spencer and had Spencer upload it for me so it went out on time. But here's the thing, it's an episode that has no words in it. Like, when you see it, you'll see it. It's like a flashback episode. It's one of the Remember episodes. And the story is all told in pictures, not in words. But that's not how it was written. I was so sick, I sent the copy of the episode without all the dialogue and narration on it. And I was just extremely lucky when they posted it that people were like, wow, what a powerful episode. It was done with no words and I still can tell what's going on. It was a 1 in a million chance that it actually was a flashback episode where that would actually work. And I didn't know about it for 2 weeks. Somebody was like, oh, I loved your newest episode, the way there were no words. I'm like, there's no words? And I went on there, I was like, oh my God, where's all Where's all my narration? And people were like, it's so powerful. I'm like, well, if they like it. Yeah, I did that on purpose. So now when we're doing the print book, I'm like, should we keep it that way or put the words back in? And, I thought that was on purpose and super deep. No, that was an accident. I went home and I was sick for a week and a half with a 102-degree fever from COVID, quarantined at my parents' house. And I still managed to get the next episode out, too. Didn't miss a beat. I don't think I was that good. I think I was just that lucky. Does Boris actually hate Deacon? Yes, Boris hates Deacon. I think all horses just dislike Deacon. It's so sad. He likes them so much and they hate him. Any case, let's see. I got that one. What programs do you use to make the comic? Asked by Calcium Intake. Clip Studio, as I said before. How do you create such beautiful detailed backgrounds? Fun fact, and I actually already did a video of this for Patreon. So if and when you sign up for my Patreon, you'll see the video. The backgrounds in Cinderella Boy are actually 3D models that have been extensively processed. They're not cheats. They still take, you know, a panel can take up to an hour for me to go in and do stuff over it and everything. And I build a lot of the models, like all of Chase's house, his room, Deacon's parents' house, Prunella's house, all the interiors. I modeled them myself in an architectural program called SketchUp. This is actually how most webtoons are done. Most Korean webtoons. I actually had a castle in the Canvas version that was the first one that you saw in this scene in the series, and then I was reading a webtoon called I think The Tyrant Wants to Be Good. Their first episode had the same castle because you buy them on a site called Acon 3D, and they have a very limited selection, so everybody ends up using the same backgrounds. If you look on webtoon, you do it like a treasure hunt. Go through all of those romantasy, castle, fantasy webtoons. You'll start to notice that the backgrounds are all very, very similar. That's why they kind of try to blur them out. What I do is I take the extra time and I go in and I edit them and I change things and I move things around and I add things. No, I could not create Cinderella Boy every week drawing the backgrounds myself. And you guys know how much I love backgrounds. I actually love drawing backgrounds. And there is no way on earth this series could come out once a week, maybe once a month, if I had to draw all those things by hand. If it was like the same 3 or 4 backgrounds that I use all the time, maybe I could draw like a bunch of stock versions of it, but like Chase goes to like a new castle every single episode. I can't do it. It's just too much. Yeah, SketchUp is a high learning curve, definitely, but once you do learn it, it is invaluable. And I did put up a couple of videos on my Patreon of like tours of the inside of Chase's room and like Silver's little house. I built Silver's house. And I show beforehand like what it looks like in the model when I take like the screenshot and what it actually looks like the comic when I'm actually done with it. And people are like, wow, it's night and day. You don't just like take a screenshot and then you're done. Just put it in the comic. There's a lot more work to do on it. I'm like, yeah, it's like it gets a lot of the work done for you, but you still have a lot of work to do on top of it. Or you can be lazy and just blur it. But I don't like that. I don't like the way it looks. Okay. But if you want to see all hand-drawn backgrounds that are really detailed, just check out my other series, Stagtown. I draw all of those by hand. That's why I almost died from exhaustion. But yeah, everything else in Cinderella Boy is done by hand. And like I said, it took me hours. It took me cumulatively over a week to build Chase's room in the model. And I still have to change things around every so often. So that's how those are done. Crimson Scar 9 asks, do you have any tips for creating paper models? Yes, I used to make paper models as reference for drawing my own backgrounds. I would just say get into paper crafting online. There's lots of tutorials. That's usually where I go to learn how to, put certain things together. Licking 101 asks, do you have any tips for people trying to create their own stories or webtoons? Learn how to draw backgrounds. Because with those Acon 3D backgrounds and all the ones, first of all, they're very expensive. Part of my, you know, small fee that I get every episode to make this series has to go towards buying those backgrounds. And because they're always different all the time, because they keep going to different books, I have to keep paying for them. Some of them you might only pay $35. Some of them you might pay $150. Depends on how complicated they are. They're very expensive, so it's in your best interest to learn how to just draw backgrounds. I would also say if you're going to do a webtoon, consistency is more important than quality. As long as you have something up every single week and you have a very reliable schedule, you will find your niche audience. People would rather you are reliable than the best artist or the best writer. Yeah, when we built that tiny piano that they said could be the paper piano they said would be put together in like 2 hours, and it took us like 16 hours over the course of 3 streams. Do you have any models you can show us right now? Oh, well, I built this one from a paper craft that I actually got off of the Disney site. This one I built on stream for fun. It's kind of dusty. I added my own little touches, like a joystick and a little piece of plastic. It's a Fix-It Felix. I know it's backwards, I'm sorry. It's a Fix-It Felix arcade cabinet. And I actually put a piece of plastic in there that I cut out of something. And you can see it's got a little Fix-It Felix screen in there. And I used a little sewing pin as like a little joystick. But I made that on stream, and it was really fun to do. I like making paper models of things. Yeah, and you can get that for free. I don't know if it's still up, but just go look for it. I just printed it out and put it together. I reinforced mine with cardboard on the inside. All right. Green Sus asks, what's your favorite part of making this comic? That's tough, because if you had asked me that for Stagtown, I would have said nothing. But if you asked me for Cinderella Boy, I say everything. I like designing the outfits. I like coming up with the dumb jokes. Probably coming up with dumb jokes is my favorite part. I like coming up with Buddy and Chase's insults towards each other. They're always sniping at each other, and I think it's kind of funny. Oh, and Sydney asked a similar question to Punko. What has been your favorite part of creating Cinderella Boy? Honestly, just people enjoying the jokes. Because, you know, when you write comedy and you're always like, what if these jokes don't land? What if nobody finds it funny? There was somebody who originally wrote in the comments, they're like, I'm sorry, but like, none of these jokes are very funny. They don't land, and I don't really like the characters. Although, like, 6 episodes later, they were like, okay, actually, yeah, I'm still reading this. And so I was like, oh, that's nice. Look, I hate Stagtown because I was so sick during it. I like it now because it's over. You know, it's like when you're running a marathon. It's like, I like when I'm done with the marathon. When I'm doing it, it's kind of hard. Do I have a paper craft of the vending machine from Red Dart? I do. Although it's in the kitchen. I don't know if I really want to drag this out. Maybe I'll show it on the next stream. This time next Monday. Talents aren't even plural. Yeah, I even the ones that are kind of serious episodes, I try to put at least one joke in just to balance it out. Look, Black River, like, not everybody can write comedy. Comedy is one of those things you just can't teach. Like, I'm a strong believer you can teach anything. If you put enough hours into learning the piano or the violin or how to dance or whatever, if you put in enough hours, you can learn it. Comedy is something like, you just can't teach it to a lot of people. You just kind of have to get it. And I am very against that whole, like, oh, you just have to be naturally born talented at things. No. I've seen a lot of naturally born talented people at art school who never went anywhere, mostly because they couldn't stick to a schedule and they couldn't take criticism. They threw a fit every time somebody said something they didn't like. And they also didn't try very hard, so they never got any better. I think natural talent will only get you maybe a third of the way in anything, and the rest is very hard work. But with comedy, you just kind of have to have a sense for it, and it's okay if you don't. Lots of people just don't. They just don't want to write comedy. That's totally fine. I was, like, nervous about writing romance for this series, because I was like, I've actually never done it before. Usually it's like a horror or supernatural story, so I was like, I'm trying real hard on that. Who just says they can't swim? Yeah, I like that Duke. It's just, he clearly can't swim. So, LilyPad37 asks, is it profitable to make a webcomic? Does it ever stop being fun? Well, you heard how much it stopped being fun on Stagtown, but that was for a lot of different reasons. Look, any job you have, it's not going to be fun sometimes. I remember when I was like 16 and I wanted to be a comic book artist and I was drawing at home at my parents' house in my room and I was like, oh, if I was like a professional comic artist, I would love my job and I would love every single minute of it. And now I'm just like, shut up, kid. Shut up. What do you... No. Work is work and it's very hard, and sometimes I have to pull all-nighters on Cinderella Boy, so when it's like hour 18, I'm like, oh my god, I just want to be done so I can go to sleep. And there will be moments when you're just like, it's a job and it's hard and I just have to push through it, but more often than not, doing what you love for a living means you love what you're doing. I'd rather still be doing this than working in an office, hating my job and making more money. Yeah, I'd make more money, but I'd also hate my job. Good evening, Punko. Are we getting a physical copy of the Stagtown webtoon series? Yes. We are still in, I'm sorry, I have an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement. You're not really allowed to talk about contract issues. We are still doing contract stuff. As vaguely as I can put it, webtoon is, how can I say this? Like, they are putting in place things for assistants to be made available to me to take the workload off of me once we start producing the book, so that I don't overwork myself like I did on Stagtown, because Kim, over at Wattpad Webtoon, which is in charge of this sort of thing, does not want me to die. They're very nice about not wanting me to die. So they're like, I was like stressing about all this work I'd have to do when we finally start working on the book after all these contracts negotiations, which take a long time in publishing. And she was like, dude, we can just get you help to, don't think you have to do all of this yourself. And I was like, no, but if I don't, it won't turn out right. She's like, shut up, just let us negotiate and you won't have to pay for them and you won't have to do anything. Look, we will get you some people. And, I was dying on my sofa. Do you listen to something in particular while working, or are you just sitting there in silence for 10 hours? Sometimes I work in silence if I'm really on a deadline, because then I can't concentrate, like, I can't have two things going at once. But other times, actually, I have listened to all, 142 of Matt Pat's Five Nights at Freddy's theories? I only played like half of one game, but I've listened to all the theories. I know more about Five Nights at Freddy's than most people who have played the games. Have you ever eaten food before, Deacon? Are you actually having a stroke? Yeah, like, I just like the idea of him just, like, trying to talk out loud to Silver, and Deacon's like, he'll never catch on because he doesn't know who I'm talking to, and he just sounds crazy. I listen to a lot of Let's Plays, a lot of game theory. One band I'm really into right now is Real Estate. Like, oh my god, I love Real Estate. You should see their music video, Paper Cup. It's very poignant and kind of sad and, like, crazy weird, but you should definitely see it. It's called Paper Cup. It's by a band called Real Estate. It's got animatronics in it. Go check it out. So, you know what's funny is... Oh, here, that's another question, so I'll answer it. Is it profitable to make a webcomic? It is, if you can get a big enough audience. I'll be honest, a lot of people on originals have to have Patreons and other side hustles just to, you know, kind of make ends meet. Comics have never been profitable. I will say, I do get treated better at Webtoon than I have at a lot of previous publishers. It gets a little better as the years go on. There's still a lot of room for improvement, we feel, but right now I'm managing to make a living on Webtoon and, you know, the little Patreon that I have, which is not much, but oh my god, like, some of the other Webtoon creators were talking about how much they get on their Patreon, and I was like my jaw was on the floor. I'm like, you get how much? It was like a little kid with a piggy bank full of quarters finding out that grown-ups make like $100,000 a year and being like, is there even that much money in the world? I'm not good at social media. I'm not good at promoting myself. I'm like, I don't want to bother people by promoting myself. They don't want to hear that. They'll think I'm being greedy or something. And my friend was like, dude, just do it so you can pay your rent. And I was like, okay, I will. Can you give us a hint about Buddy's real name? Look, guys, I will tell you right now, if I wanted you to know what it was, I would have told you by now. You're gonna have to trust me. If I try to give you a hint or something right now, it'll ruin it, Like, just, you gotta trust me. We will get to the point where you will find out his name and you will be like, I'm so glad you didn't spoil it for us, Punko. I will tell you right now, you will know his name and some of his backstory and his connection to Ex Libris before the end of season 1. I'm not gonna do a thing where, like, I make you wait until the very end of the story and then tell it to you. No, you will know, and it will be important. Budrick. Buddington. Cat boys for cat books. Yeah, my niece is still... Oh, by the way, my niece does want to raise money and donate those little kitty books to the library, but it's her school library, and my sister said apparently there's an issue with doing, like, monetary donations to the school library, like, if they're allowed to take it, and also they want to know if they're actually going to put the books into rotation or if they're going to sell them at book fairs, which is what a lot of libraries do. They don't actually put the books in rotation. It's getting done. She has to sort it out, so... But I'll give you an update when I can. Alright. Well, thanks, Koronigiri. I appreciate your support. So, any case, what is your daily inspiration? It's gonna sound cringe, but you guys. I will be exhausted every Monday night around this time when the episode has just gone live for the week. I usually, almost over half the time, have pulled an all-nighter since the night before. I'm tired as hell. I just want to go to sleep. And I'm like, oh my god, I hate my job sometimes. Why am I even doing this? I'm barely getting paid enough. And then I will go and read all the comments about how important it was or how you had a bad day and it made you feel so much better to read this new episode, and everything just is so much better. So I love reading your comments, and it makes everything worth it. It makes it feel like I'm not just sitting here talking to myself all the time. So the comments matter an awful lot to me. Being cringe is awesome! I know, that's how I live my life. That's how I've lived my whole life. Guys, I'm out in 7 minutes. I screeched like a demon. Why are you trying to make me cry? Do I have a favorite webtoon? Oh, man. You know, it's hard because, like, I'm friends with some of the other creators, so I want to say their webtoons. Tales of the Unnatural is good. Oh, Everything is Fine is a great one. I actually cosplayed it with the big cat head, and I went to the LA offices and I dressed up. Everything is Fine is a really good one. So, let's see here. Sorry, I'm reading your comments. Let's see here. Yinny Annie asks, can you share a list of your top 10 fan fiction if you read any? The first one is Blue Sky, which is a Portal 2 fanfic from like 2010, and the other 9 are also Blue Sky. Because Blue Sky is the best fanfiction ever written, and I will broach no argument on that front. It is so good. It's a novel length. You barely even need to know Portal in order to read it. Like, you do need to know technically what happened in Portal, but you can catch up on that in 5 seconds on the wiki. It's so good. It was so good it spawned its own fandom. It was on Tumblr like for years, and people drew fan art and fanfics of this fanfiction. It's called Blue Sky. It's on fanfiction.net still. I want to like download it and preserve it, like print it out and put it in a book so I never lose it. It's so good. Whoever wrote it, I don't know if they're writing novels now, but they should be. Also, they were actually really funny. They were good at jokes and good at humor and good at like really, really sweet writing and good at really like sentimental writing. And I have very high standards for people being able to capture the voice of a character, especially Wheatley from Portal, because he's like Stephen Merchant. He's so funny and so iconic, and people are not good at, I'm not good at writing his dialogue, and I've never even tried. This person, I would say, was like 99% there. Just almost completely, perfectly there, and I was just so impressed by that. Anyways, Blue Sky, fanfiction.net, all you need to know. Lexi Harper says, I named a chick that I recently hatched Silver in honor of Silver. Oh, there's a little baby chicken named Silver! But anyways, Also, I just like anybody who writes any sort of fan fiction of anything that I do. I'll say right now, I may not read all of them. I mentioned in Stagtown I don't like to read over the shoulders of people writing fan fiction because I have written some fan fiction in my time. All G-rated comedies, as you do, like I do. And I would not like to know that the creator of that series was like reading my story over my shoulder. I would be so self-conscious. Although I did tell the president of Wattpad about my fanfic because I am enormously cringe, and he thought it was funny and wanted to go look it up. So many fanfics written in a short time. I do have friends who tell me, they're like, "Did you see this new one?" I'm like, "No, I wasn't looking," and they're just like, "Yeah, it's actually really funny," or like, "It's really good." Nobody has guessed Buddy's name yet. I just caught that comment. It just went, I do not understand how... I don't understand how Wattpad works either. I tried going there once and I was like, I'm lost. I feel like I've wandered into the Beyond section of Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't know where I am. So, let's see here. Eclipse Army asks, could you turn the keys into humans and the humans into keys? I don't know if we want a key-sized Chase. He'd just run around, get into the sugar bowl, eat his way out, and then, like, just be hyper for the rest of forever. Can you imagine pocket-sized Chase just running around doing his little boy band routine? It might be funny for, like, 10 minutes. After a while, you'd be afraid you'd lose him down an air vent or something. Alright. Okay, so... Aguas Azules wrote, Sugaroto on Tumblr found that the papers about the keys contain song lyrics. They're in Greek. What was the reason for the song choice? As I said before, they were actually just templates for old pages that an asset creator made as like a really quick brush for webtoon creators to use. They're like, look, when you don't have time to make old-timey pages or whatever, just, you can go ahead and use this. You know, you can license it from me for nothing. And so I put that in there. I actually had no idea they were song lyrics in Greek until somebody told me. How do you pronounce Sene and Charon? Done. All right. Drukrer, hi, this is a question for Dear Mother. Is Stagtown getting translated into Spanish or any other language? I'm myself Mexican and would love to share Frankie's adventures with my friends, but I'm the only English speaker of all of them. Oh, pronto espero. Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. I will write to Creator Care and ask Kent about that because I feel it really should be translated. Neil Newbon peruses his characters in fanfics every now and then. Neil Newbon has seen a goose that I made, in person, that I made of Astarion. I made Goostarion, a stuffed actual goose. I posted it on my creator feed like way back. And he saw it in person because I gave it as a gift to my friend Sene, who then went and met him in person. And we actually gave him a black and white headshot of the goose signed to Neil, like, to my biggest fan, love Goostarion. And so he actually has a copy of that, and he apparently thought that was extremely funny. Oh my god, you made that. Yes, I did. Alright, so... let's see here. Yassi, are you not allowed to have a break when you're currently in the process of writing? So Yassi asked about breaks, and I said something like, I'm allowed to have a 2-week break, and I think they felt that I was like, oh my god, I'm allowed to take some time off. That wasn't what I meant, Yassi, but you deleted your comment and apologized, and I couldn't reply to a deleted comment. I wasn't offended. I was saying I am contractually allowed certain breaks during the year so that we don't work ourselves to death, because that... Ooh, you think webtoon creators in America work hard? You have no idea what they put them through in Korea. Oh my god, this poor woman, she actually had a miscarriage. I hate to bring the room down, but it needs to be said. They are not treated well. And we're treated a little bit better, but still horrible. And so they build in breaks for us in our schedules. So when I see people like, oh, it's gonna be another 2 weeks. I waited 2 weeks. I'm like, friend, this is how it has to be. I'm sorry. If you don't want people getting sick. You have to. Wasn't that goose in one of the Cinderella ups? It was, yes, the one with the knife in its mouth. So let's see here. Now that sad thing is out. Izina Nome or Gnome? How do you get inspiration for Buddy's clothes? What's the process of designing Buddy's clothes? Lizzie Hamilton, do you enjoy designing the outfits? I particularly like the masculine take on traditionally feminine outfits. And Errol Lobo, how do you design Chase and Buddy's outfits so well? Everything about this comic is great. The outfits that Silver and Violet create are top-notch. Thank you very much. I spend, at the beginning of every story arc, so depending on maybe like every 5 episodes or so, the one day off I have during the week, which is, well, I have Tuesday mornings off after I turn in an episode. I spend the whole day on costume design because I'm actually not, I feel like I'm not really that good at it or that original, so it takes me a very long time to kind of hone in, like, yes, this is the feeling I want for this costume, or this is the feeling I want for that costume. I will actually show you guys in the next stream when we're doing drawings and stuff next week at this time. I will show you some sketches of outfits you haven't seen yet from future series or future arcs. But yeah, it's basically just I would say Deacon's outfits are usually the easiest to design. I think like he looks good in uniforms, so I always kind of go with like a uniform for him. Some people don't get that there are human beings behind their favorite content. Nah. Oh, bye, Cookie Cat. Yeah, the thing, yeah, a lot of people who are like, I'm gonna boycott Webtoon to like punish them for treating the artist badly. I'm like, friend, that only punishes us. That just means we lose our jobs. I get what you're feeling, but like, I'd rather you, instead of boycotting, talk about it, like, you know, tweet about it. That actually makes a lot more impact on Webtoon. Whew. Yeah, so Deacon is a simple man. Buddy's outfits are always the hardest to design. I always leave them for last because he is so finicky. That's why his little tip jar here has a Buddy's Fit Fund. His are always like super finicky. Chase's like in order from easiest to hardest: Deacon, Chase, Buddy. I don't know. His are just like, I feel like every time I design one, he's just like, no, do it again. Like, I feel like I'm his tired, underpaid assistant just standing there with an armful of clothes while he's in front of like a giant mirror, and he's like, hate it. Too similar to last week's. Ew, no, what were you thinking? Maybe try that in black. Are you even doing your job? And I'm like, and he's like, now go get me a Starbucks. Oh, good. Thanks for reposting that. So, high maintenance. Yeah, Deacon actually got 2 outfits in the Toffee arc. I should post up the cats. So Toffee is actually the name of the cat that belongs to Sene and their mom, and who lives in Italy. Actually, the cat's name is Pupolino, but their nickname is Toffee. And the cat that Deacon was, Little Friend, is the cat from Stagtown, who was like a main character in there. But also, me and my friend Paul, who was my roommate at the time when we had a townhouse with my other friend Jack, had a cat named Little Friend. And Mucifer, the cat that Buddy was supposed to be, I actually found a black kitten under a dumpster, 8-week-old kitten, outside of my apartment. Somebody had abandoned the kitten and just left it. And I caught it. I bought a humane raccoon trap, caught it, cleaned it up, fostered the cat for several weeks, got her fixed. I named her Mucifer, and then I found her a home where they immediately renamed her Elizabeth. And I'm like, Mucifer was right there. It was right there. Why would you? Even the vet thought it was a good name. Come on. I come up with great names for cats, like Squeaky Business. What did I say? Keyboard 3000. Great cat names. No. I'm glad that they took Elizabeth. I just thought that Mucifer was a really good name. But actually that kitten was extremely sweet. So, yeah. Buddy's outfits take forever to design. I look around at like a lot of like, I'll look at like fashion shows online. I'll look at like lots of high couture and that sort of thing. And then, or sometimes I'll pick a theme. Like for Chase, I'll be like, okay, his theme this week is this, or his theme is that. And build it around an idea. And Sene and Charon actually helped too. They were the ones who helped me design Chase's boots for the Toffee arc. We agonized over his footwear for 2 hours. I'm not kidding. We were like, okay, what about this other character I've seen? They have a boot style like this. Hang on, let me get the reference. Do you think this would work? Something like this? I'm like, no, it won't mesh with the pants. They're like, well, we could change the pants. And then I was like, okay, but ankle length boots. And they're like, yeah, but give them like a big fuzzy cuff, but have it like a deep V. I'm like, yeah, and it's got to have like a zipper or like a bell or some sort of embellishment. And they're like, ooh, what about squirmels? Like worms on a string. I'm like, yeah, like little golden ones with like little diamond eyes, the fancy squirmels. Because cats love those. So we put those on the boots. And so it was very funny. Mucifer is a good name. I'm sorry. So let's see here. How powerful... Toastet wants to know how powerful is the pineapple. Very. 2 Gracie Lou 2. What's your favorite fruit? Surely it's not pineapple. No, it's mango. Rary Cactus. What's the origin of the pineapple? How'd you come up with it? I have no idea. I was just sitting outside one day and said, what's a character that would be fun to ask people to give likes? And then I drew a little pineapple with a pageant sash on. And I wrote like-napple because I thought that was a funny word. And then I thought it would be funny if he just commits crimes. I refer to him as he sometimes, or they sometimes, but as people have pointed out, they've repeated what I said. Like-napple is a non-binary binapple and accepts all pronouns. All pronouns are appropriate. They will accept all pronouns. He, she, they, whatever. But I have no idea where the pineapple came from. It just came out of nowhere. For like-napple, what's a full list of your crimes? I'm just asking. I'm definitely not a cop. From Girl in the Gap. You're a cop. No crimes, Your Honor. None. Damian White asks for like-napple. Best places for discreet arson. I asked them and they said in the middle of a forest fire. Nobody will ever catch you because all the other trees are on fire at the same time. It's the perfect crime. And Toasty the Cat simply posted the pineapple in all caps. Excellent comment. Now, we're going to get into the stuff you guys have been asking. Does Chase's mom ever get better? We will see. All I can say is it's a comedy, guys. It's not like it's going to be horrifically sad at the end. I would never end this series horrifically sadly, guys. I couldn't even end Stagtown without giving it a sort of happy ending. I was so miserable. I'm like, I don't ever want to think about sad things ever again. Okay. Rice God 56. What is Ex Libris? What is their desire for serotonin? What state is Cinderella Boy located in? Ex Libris is an organization that Silver mentions, created all 12 of the keys to harvest serotonin. Serotonin is the human enjoyment of stories or narration. It's narrative serotonin. And with it, you can make wishes if you get enough of it. So they were a secret organization that apparently existed at least a couple hundred years ago. And I don't know if they were trying to create some sort of new world order by using their wishes wisely, but they used all of their underlings and novices and everything to actually do the hard work of gathering all the serotonin, and then it was given to the higher-ups to make wishes, with the idea that if you did enough work within Ex Libris, you could earn your way up the ladder and finally get your wish. Whether that actually happened or not, we don't know yet. But they were not nice to the keys. They did not treat them well. They didn't treat them like people. They treated them like things. Which is why Silver originally expected Chase to treat her exactly the same, and you'll notice that Bronze expected even worse. Silver is a little bit more optimistic about people. Bronze is a little more realistic or pessimistic, and he expected Chase and Deacon to treat them both like garbage. So he's been a little bit slower to warm up to them, but I think the chicken oven mitt really helped. And then the dinosaurs go extinct. Oh, Punko, are you American? I am. I was born in Kansas, but I actually grew up in Germany. My dad was stationed overseas, so I lived in Wiesbaden and Mannheim. So I grew up mostly in Europe, and then I came here in latter half of middle school, and then did high school here and everything, and then moved around a lot in the country. Do you have any voice claims? You know, I know what they sound like in my head, but I haven't really, heard anything. Here's the thing. I don't have TV, and I don't have streaming services. I don't have Netflix, or Hulu, or Paramount Plus, or Disney Plus. I don't watch television. When people say, how do you get so much work done? I don't watch television. That's the thing. I just don't. I don't really watch movies. I mean, I used to and everything. But you'd be surprised how much time you get back in your life by not watching TV. Hours and hours every day. I will make an exception sometimes to sit down. I just watched The Emperor's New Groove the other day on Amazon because I was like, man, that's such a good movie. Will we see the relationship between Violet and Buddy too? Yes, you will. You will see it before the end of season 1. Yo, can you speak German? Actually, I learned French in school. I only know just a tiny little bit of German, not enough to even be useful. We were taught German and French in the 2nd and 3rd grade overseas, and then when I moved back here in middle and high school, I took French. Let's see, I'm sorry, I'm trying to read. Oh, come to Canada! I did go to a Canadian con once. I was a guest there, and everybody there was so nice. If Chase has the hero key, why is he always the princess? He does not. He has the heroine key. So. Emperor's New Groove is peak! Yeah. Vraiment? Yeah. Is there going to be seasons? Yes. I hated learning German. Learning Japanese was more fun. It really is. I know a little bit of Japanese too. Just don't want to be you when I grow up. Oh, hang on. I want to unpause that. Okay. So I got that one done. Lava Rosada asks, is there a strict criteria on what kinds of stories they can enter? Like, do they have to be timeless stories with a lot of history to them? Or could they find a fanfic on the internet, print it, and staple it into a book and then stick a key in it? Theoretically, yes. Chase could print out a fanfic, staple it into a book shape, slap a key into it. Well, you have to write a title on the front, slap a key into it, and it would work. As long as it was like a fanfic well written enough that it has a clear narrative. It doesn't have to be any special kind of story, it just has to have a narrative with clear characters and roles for the keys to take the place of. Let's see here. Friend Beast. Besides generating cool new outfits, are the keys able to alter your physical appearance at all when you're inside the books, or do you appear only as your real-world self to other key users? The keys can slightly alter your appearance. You'll notice in the newest, at the end of the newest episode, you saw Buddy on the island, and he had a full sleeve tattoo. But you'll notice in the cat arc, when he had 3/4 sleeves on that just went up to here, he did not have that tattoo. His key added the tattoo as decoration. They can do stuff like that. They can tweak a little bit, but they can't really do much. Do you go to any convention artist alleys? Oh man, I used to do at least 2 a month back in the day. It was so exhausting. But unfortunately now that I do a webtoon and it's so much work all the time, I don't even have time to go to most conventions. It's sad. I wish I could. I do go to Katsucon every year with my friends just because we've been going since, oh my god, 2001. So, long time. Same celiac ordeal, but without the money. What about comics? Can you go into comics? Yeah, somebody asked about that too. I don't know if I saved that one, but it would depend. Comics are kind of fuzzy because a lot of the story depends on the pictures, not on the words that are written, and the keys are much better at utilizing the words of the story to interpret it as a narrative. If it had a lot of narration in the comic, maybe. It's kind of a fuzzy area. They might be able to go into the book, but it might be very unstable. It might be very hard or like difficult to get through it. It really depends. It has to have a clear narrative to it. Oh no, fanfics. Now let's see here. Madame Unscrewed says, I want to know how time outside passes. Like, is one in-book hour 10 minutes in the real world, and do they biologically age while in the book? You do not age while you're inside the books. You don't. As for how time passes, it's a little bit tricky. Deacon even says, like, I'd like to study that effect more. He has noticed that they can be several hours in a book and come back and significantly less time has passed. I think for the beginning of the island arc, he estimates that it will simply take most of the day to do 3 days inside the book. But on the other hand, that's because in the book, perhaps the narration skips over what happens at night. When I first started the series, I had an idea like, you spend as much time in the book as you would reading it. So a book can like span, like 1,000 years of history, but if it only takes you several hours to read it, or like all day, that's how long you spend. But that's not really, I don't know if that's really the rule now. I think it's a little bit tricky and it depends on the book, but generally you spend far less time in the real world than you do in the book. You cannot live inside the books, unfortunately. Not unless you brought a lot of stuff with you. The food in the books isn't real. Nothing in the books is real. It's like being on the holodeck, you know, in Star Trek. It's all imaginary and it's all in your head. Nothing in the books is real. It's why Chase can eat gluten in the books and not get hurt, because he's not really eating. His brain is telling him that he's eating, and it might even tell him that he feels full, but he's not actually eating. And it's one of the reasons that they didn't pack that many snacks for 3 days on this island trip that they went on. You'd think they would need more food for 3 days than just like a little cooler and Chase's little bag of celiac snacks, but they actually don't, because they're physically only going to be in there for a few hours real world time, so they really didn't actually need that much food. But no, you would run out of water, you would run out of food. There's another issue with it that I can't tell you because it's a big spoiler, but yeah. But no, the food does seem to fill you up and you do taste it. But it's all an illusion. Like, for example, if you drank wine in a story, you might get drunk, but the minute you walked out of the story, you would be immediately sober. And if you think that your brain can't be tricked into feeling drunk, they did studies once where they got a bunch of adults together and fed them punch, and then for another different test, and then someone said that leaked this idea that the punch had been spiked. All the adults started acting as if they were very drunk, even getting into fights, because their brains were convinced that they were drunk, even though it was just grape juice with, like, I don't know, like cider vinegar put in it or something. Your brain can be tricked into a lot of idiot things. Oh, good luck at school tomorrow, Blob! Yeah, the placebo effect is very strong. Okay, how does Magpie Raven, how does time pass? We just did that. Yinny Annie says, what would happen if a key bearer got injured in the book? Would they just get injured in the book, or would it transfer to real world once they leave? If they were injured by a book character, it would only last as long as in the book. It would still hurt, but it would be imaginary, and it wouldn't stay with them when they left. On the other hand, if Deacon went and hauled off and punched Chase in the face, Deacon is real, and Chase is real. They are, the two real people inside of this imaginary world. So, just imagine it like it's an empty, blank, dark room, and there's two people in it, and they're both sharing a hallucination that they're in a castle. But if you weren't actually part of that hallucination, you would just see them, like, eating imaginary, invisible things, talking to imaginary people, and maybe they go, I got hit by the imaginary person, I hurt, but it's all in their head. But if one of them hit the other, then yes, they would be hurt, and that would stay with them. But he felt that slap. You did. In the OG Cinderella episode, Chase has the ability to summon animals. If their character had fire powers, would they have it? Yes, they would. So when Chase got a black eye, he came back home with a real black eye. Yes. In Canvas, it was a little more obvious. He actually comes out of the story with the black eye, but I think I headcanon that he got into a scuffle with Buddy and Buddy accidentally kicked him. He didn't actually mean to kick him in the face, but he did. Talk about a shared delusion. Alright. Giovanna Christina asks, can they take objects from the stories like the shell that Bronze wanted? Nope. Bronze was trolling Deacon by asking him for a shell. You can't take anything out of the books because it's not real. Cupidu asks, can the characters enter any literature with a story or things like comics and movie scripts on the table? Yeah, there. I should have put that with the other one. Movie scripts? Possibly if there's enough narration. But like I said with comics, it's kind of iffy. And Fall Time, can they answer comic books? Yeah. Maybe. Maybe. It depends. Holly Wally says, I know Ex Libris is the nameplate on a book showing who it belongs to, so does this mean Ex Libris thinks they own the stories and the keys? How did they become known as Ex Libris? We don't know yet. But yes, Ex Libris is actually a book plate that was put in the front of books that means from the library of, and then you would put your name, and you're like, this is my book. It comes from my own personal library. But yes, they certainly do think that they own an awful lot of this. Slayla asked, is Naruto an explosive? Like, is it combustible? No, it's not combustible. What are all the... Oh, Hear Me Echoes asks, what are all the keys roles? Because there are so many keys and only so many roles in a book. You are right. it could be tough if you wanted to put all 12 keys into a book. No shell for bronze? Why is he so marginalized? I will tell you right now, I don't want to tell you much about the keys because you will meet them. There's no love interest key. That's not a role. The keys are actually based on different things like Campbell's story of the hero, Jungian archetypes, as 12 characters, like the rogue, the everyman, the this, that. If you look up like Jungian story archetypes, there are 12 of them. Mine are a little bit different. I changed them around to be a little bit simpler and more like comedy friendly. I don't have a song in mind that describes Buddy and Chase's relationship, but I do have a song for Chase. Does Buddy have an accent? I don't think so, no. Is the Elephant Book ever kind of... Dang it, Hap. Maybe someday, but I have to update the art on that one. On the other hand, fun fact, Hap, the Elephant Book shares a universe with Cinderella Boy. Womp womp. Commedia dell'arte in my Cinderella Boy. Okay, so... Got that one. Flute Hammer. Can you give us a ranking of the keys by age? Silver is the oldest, right? Where does bronze fall? Silver is actually the second oldest. And bronze would be, I believe, at least fifth oldest. So bronze is her little brother. Oh, I'm sorry. Silver is actually not the second oldest. She's the third oldest. It's hard to keep track of them. There's 12 of them. Oh, and if they went into a book about mermaids or something, would they be able to breathe underwater or would they immediately start drowning? No, they would be able to breathe as long as they were mermaids. Eli Roses, can characters in the storybooks become sentient? As in, can they realize if told by Chase or anyone else that they're in a storybook, or are they just characters that have no memories or backstory, just fictional people in pages? I would posit that every person in every story is real to themselves. For example, Chase and Deacon are just characters in a story, but if I had a key and the ability to stick it in a book of Cinderella Boy, I went to go visit them and told them they were fictional, they probably wouldn't believe me, first of all, and they have all their memories of when they were kids, but technically you and I have not been present for them. We only just met them 23 episodes ago, and someday the series will end, so we have that nice, just one encapsulated story of their lives, but they still remember who they are. Yeah, storyception. It's just a story inside a story inside a story. I believe that when Chase and Deacon and everybody go to meet people in the books, the people in the books believe they're real, and they remember that they have... Let's see, you said, like, they have no memories or backstory, like they have no past. The past does not exist, except in your memory. Once it's gone, it's gone. So, if everybody on the Earth forgot everything that happened in the past, does it even exist? Like, as long as they remember it, it does exist. We would say that Chase and Deacon have backstories and lives, and Buddy and everybody, but technically they don't. Technically, we've never seen them. But yeah, like, at some point, the past, like, you can maybe dig up artifacts and see, like, see, this is from, look at this thing, this is from the past, but they could be like, or maybe it just started existing now, you can't prove it. The past only exists in your mind. Really? Headsplosion. Please stop with the existential crises. Alright, sorry, guys. I'm now having a midlife crisis. It's the best time to have them. What happens if the book gets harmed when Chase is in the book? From Misgin Kaplan. That would be very bad. She said, looking conspiratoriously off into the distance as if she knew something. Shadow's Mirror asks, each key has a symbol. The helper key's symbol is an apple. Why an apple? And is Violet's love of sparklies because of her key symbol, or is her key symbol because of her love of sparklies? The helper has an apple. I'm ignoring all the yelling. The helper has an apple because I always, like, felt like sidekicks are always hungry. Like, have you ever noticed the sidekicks are always hungry? Like, it's like a funny character trait to give to a comedic sidekick, because they're always hungry for some reason. Like, the more I think about it, when I think of, like, shows that I like and everything, there's a lot of sidekick characters, a lot of their main traits are just they're hungry all the time, and it's funny. But also, an apple is a source of wisdom, you know? And bronze is oftentimes, as we've noticed, an unlikely source of wisdom. You know, you leave an apple for the teacher on the desk when you go first day of school. Nobody actually does that anymore, but when you see teachers, like when they give out teacher awards and everything, a lot of times they're shaped like apples. Because teachers give knowledge, and apples represent knowledge to us. And so he is kind of a source of wisdom to people sometimes, especially Deacon when he has to tell Deacon to stop being a baby. Paimon! Yeah, Paimon's always hungry. So what would happen if Chase got decapitated in the book? If he got decapitated by someone who was real, like Buddy came and cut his head off, then yes, he would be dead in real life. But we're not going to do that, guys. Come on, it's just a fun all-ages comedy. Look, I have an all-ages rating. Those are actually pretty rare on Webtoon. You have to be pretty wholesome to get one of those. That's not going to happen. All right. AV Comics, will we ever see Chase meet his idols? You know, I thought about doing like a fun hiatus comic where he like wins a contest and gets to meet Alistair, but I'm not sure if I'll do it yet. I might just spend my hiatus between seasons sleeping. Gothic Beast Girl, how smells Chase hair's conditioner? And will we get to see Simon someday? You will, but I'm not going to point him out as Simon. You will see more of Chase's friends pretty soon, but I'm not going to tell you which one is Simon. You'll have to guess. Chase's hair conditioner smells like the rest of Chase in that it smells like whatever product is on the drugstore shelf that has the word Malibu in the title. Kids basic. Flute Hammer, what is Chase's favorite song and band? His favorite band is Star Brigade, led by his absolute hero Alistair, and his favorite song is all songs that Alistair sings. Nana Danny says, is Chase a fan of K-pop? He originally was. Originally, he wasn't just a generic boy fan. He was a K-pop stan. And then I realized I don't know enough about K-pop to get it right. And if I said something wrong, all the K-pop stans would murder me. So I was like, he just likes generic boy bands now. Thank you. No. Alistair is actually very nice. I'll actually, tomorrow's drawing is a picture of him meeting Alistair because you guys voted on it. Let's see here. The Ducky is here. Aren't Chase and Deacon going to search for the other key that Chase saw at the fair? Yes, they are. They have been. We just haven't seen them talking about it yet, but we'll get to that. I'm gonna murder your name. Clogini? I'm sorry. Does Chase sing well or not? In episode 12, he looked amazing doing his presentation, but I don't know if his voice is good or if it's a little out of tune. This is one of those things, look, I'm a fan of other things. I am a dork about fandom. I have written some dumb comedy fanfics in my time. Sometimes I just want to leave things vague so that people can headcanon it however they want. I know some people are like, no, I need to know the official answer. But you know, like for example, I like Undertale. And where's my buddy? There's my Sansy. And I also have Undyne. My friend had a claw machine at her wedding because she's the bestest friend ever, and she stuffed it full of toys that she knew all of us liked from like all of our fandoms, and she put Undertale in there for all of us because we all love Undertale. And I was like, I will stick so many quarters into this machine until I get Undyne. But, snaz! But here's the thing. Toby Fox says he will never tell you exactly how the names are pronounced because he doesn't want people to fight about them. Anybody can be right. So I've seen people say Undine and Undyne, and I used to say Undine, and then I changed my mind and said it's Undyne. But Toby Fox says, like, look, they're all fine. It's a video game. You can't hear their names being pronounced in real life, so don't worry too much about it. Just don't worry too much. I like Toby Fox. He's cool like that. Best wedding ever. Oh, yeah, it was a really cool wedding. It's the third wedding I've been to in the last 2 years where people have gone down the aisle to anime music. Because that's the kind of friends I have. Yeah, I know, like, when I saw that she was Undyne the Undying in the genocide route, I was like, okay, I guess it is maybe Undyne, but he also said it could be Undyne, it could be whatever you want. So when people say, is Chase a good singer, I personally know in my heart what he is, but I want to leave it open-ended so you can think of it however you want. Like, whatever you come up with, if you write a fanfic or draw a pic or just talk about it to people online, whatever you come up with, that's the right answer. Biz! Sorry, my cat is getting into my closet. Sometimes she thinks that there's something in there that's intriguing. There isn't, it's just boxes. Alright. AKA, no, he's not. No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying, like, I like to leave some things open-ended because I feel like when you get too hyper-focused on, like, this is this and that is that, it really limits the fandom in, like, what they can headcanon about it themselves or write about it. And, like, I just don't want to. Like, if you take Undertale again, a lot of people wrote fanfics where they're like, the underground was like this, or this happened, or monsters work like this. And Toby Fox isn't gonna come out and be like, no, it isn't. Stop it. Stop it. You're getting it wrong. Like, I don't care. He's chill like that, and so am I. Oh, maybe Biz will come along and visit us. Come here, business. Or stay in the closet. I don't care what you do. Alright. Heavenly Plays. Since it's not his real name, why did Chase change his? Also, why the name Chase? Because it sounds like Charlie. It sounds like a nickname. And also because he thinks that the name Charlie will not be a very good boy band name. He thinks Chase is like his cool guy nickname. To be fair, it's not like he's going to go out and get an official name change form or anything like that. It's just a nickname, like stage name, like Madonna or Lady Gaga. You know, like it's not like his mom still calls him Charlie, and he doesn't. Like, at first, in one episode, he's like, Mom, you're supposed to be, like, helping me make Chase happen. How am I gonna make it happen if you don't help me? But he's just talking to talk to amuse her and make her laugh, because she's very sick, and he's trying to take her mind off of it. You'll see later she calls him Charlie all the time on the phone, and he doesn't get upset or correct her. It's like how I have a nickname. Like, my nickname is, to everybody in the world, is Marty, but my real name is Mary, and my parents called me Mary, my mom calls me Mary, my family calls me Mary. I don't correct them. Like, they can call me Mary. They're allowed. They're my fam. McFly? Yes, actually, that's where I got the nickname, because when I was, like, a little kid, I was obsessed with Back to the Future. Chase is so sweet. Let's see here. Squirrel asks, I noticed there are some trophies in Chase's room, so I was wondering, did they belong to him? Did he win a contest? Or did he just see them at a store at a low price and thought, looks neat, I'm taking this home with me? I can almost see him doing that, but no, the trophies on his desk are sports trophies. He did play sports in middle and high school. I kind of almost headcanon that, like, when I say headcanon, it means, like, I haven't decided if it's an actual thing. I'm just kind of thinking it over. That he wrestled. He was on the wrestling team in high school. Because one of my favorite Broadway stars, Ethan Slater, who played SpongeBob in the original cast for the SpongeBob musical, which I went and saw, and I was, like, front row, like the world's biggest dork. I'm sitting there with, like, a bunch of 10-year-olds. They're like, are you excited? I'm like, yes, I am. I'm such a big fan. But that's such a good musical. They Might Be Giants, Jonathan Colton, David Bowie all did songs for it. Ethan Slater is very short and just like the funniest, most upbeat guy in the whole world. And also he wrestled in high school. And when I was thinking of Chase, you'll notice Chase tackles people a lot. He tackled Deacon down the stairs. He tackled Buddy to get the shoe back. He does a takedown on people bodily a lot. And so I thought it's like he does it because he wrestles and he likes it. He liked being on the wrestling team. He thought he was pretty good at it. I think I read somewhere that like smaller guys have like have an advantage in wrestling. I don't know, like they have a lower center of gravity. That might be garbage. I don't know. I have no idea. So, SpongeBob musical is so good. Oh my god, Gloom, go look up the SpongeBob musical. You can watch it on Amazon. The songs are so good. It's so fantastic. Okay. Rain Greenbrier, when did Chase try to take photos of Buddy? Almost immediately after he met Silver, because Silver probably asked him to. She was trying to identify if he was somebody that she knew, but then they kind of like realized after a time that it would have been hundreds of years ago, and so he just kind of gave up. So it was between him meeting Silver and Deacon finding out about the keys, but we don't see him actually do it. The thing is, I only get so many episodes per season. When people are like, oh, why didn't you show this? Why didn't you show that? I'm like, guys, I don't get unlimited episodes. I get a certain number of episodes per season. I get more if I get more Fast Pass and more Wub Club and people keep, getting the series renewed. But to start with, I only get a certain number, so I kind of have to make it count. I can only fit so much in. So, I heart Chase no matter what size he is. Did he just run up and book it? I like to think he was like around the corner, like trying to be sneaky with his phone. Like, so, Kat Schrodinger, has Chase ever wanted or thought about going to college before his mother got cancer? He did, yes. He, I think he wanted to continue. He wanted to go for, you know, like he wanted to learn acting and performing and that sort of thing, but I don't have the money for it. Liloliops, Liloliops? I think it's Liloliops, who is Simon from the earlier episode. He's a friend of Chase's from school who is also into dancing and who totally let him down. God. When they were talking about, like, you know, God, Simon, this is the big leagues. I don't even remember what I wrote. It was like the all-youth tri-county. Like, I wanted it to sound like it was just some sort of, like, podunk dance-off at, like, a county fair, but Chase takes everything to do with his eventual job, like, super seriously. He's like, this is the big leagues. Like, agents are gonna be here. He's like, talent agents are gonna be in Sugar Springs at the county fair. He's like, they're everywhere, Simon! They're everywhere. ENVGF, when did Chase get celiac disease? Really earlier, a couple years into the story. And Yobi asks, how often does Chase suffer from the consolation meal when visiting friends? Chase has had celiac since he was a little kid. Originally in the script, oh my gosh. Oh, it's only 10:30. I'm sorry. I thought that said 12:30. I was like, oh my god, we've gone on way too long. No, we're fine. Originally in the script, before I knew I had celiac, Chase was deathly afraid of eating sugar. Because it broke him out really bad. Like, it ruined his skin every time he ate it. So he swore off eating any refined sugar. But it drove him nuts because he wanted to eat sugar. And then he went into a story and saw all the sugary things on the buffet. But he, you know, did the thing he did in the final episode where he's like, you can eat that, stupid, it's not real anyways. So he started chowing down all the sugar. And then, all-town tri-county youth dance competition. I wanted it to sound as, like, completely minor leagues as possible. Like, one step above, like, a school talent show. But Chase is, like, he's like 150% about everything. This kid puts everything he has into everything he does. He takes everything super serious if it's about his career. Nobody's forgiving Simon. Dude, I'm sorry. Would you, like... Chase said he had to take the bus all the way into town, like, because he doesn't have a car to drive. So that means he had to walk from his house, which is on the edge of town, all the way to the bus stop, wait for the bus, which probably took forever, take the bus into town, go to the dance studio where they probably reserved a space to dance that day, and then wait around all day, and then Simon can't even call and be like, I'm not going to be able to make it. Chase had to call him. What's he doing that's so important? As Sene said, like, what's he got to do that's so important, Simon? Yeah. Dance competitions are kind of intense literally everywhere. Simon is the worst. But the nice thing about Chase is he gets really angry about things and then immediately forgives the person. In that, another, like, Punko is secretly gender bend Chase. I get super upset about things and then, like, the minute people say sorry, I'm just like, that's okay. Like, I do not hold a grudge. So when I found out I had celiac, I already had this plot in the story where Chase can't have a certain food but gets to eat as much as he wants in the story, so it's very funny that he's like shoving cakes down his dress or whatever. And so I said, I'm gonna do celiac rep because I can't find anything anywhere online of any character having celiac. I went on Reddit and somebody was like, does anybody know of any representation for people with celiac in media? And one person was like, yeah, there was an episode of Dr. House where a woman murdered her 2 children because she went crazy from celiac. And they're like, wow, that's... I asked for representation, not character assassination. And, cancel Simon for missing dance practice! We hate you, Simon. And, so I actually wrote up on there, I was like, hey, I have, like, I have a Canvas series on Webtoon. The main character has celiac and he talks about it pretty frequently. And they delete it. They're like, no self-promotion. I'm like, literally everybody in this little section is like, I can't find anything. Can anybody recommend anything? I have a recommendation. Yeah, it's mine, but who else are you going to hear about it from? Nobody else knows my series right now. And they deleted it. And I was like, fine, I didn't want to talk to you people anyways. Oh, that's okay. Simon is over. No, sorry, MJ Lilibo. That's not spoilers. That happened in the last free episode. So they're still good. I have an active Reddit. I should recommend it. Yeah, if, like, you know what? If you can't fast pass or anything, I see people going on, like, webtoon Reddits all the time. I saw somebody asking, like, are there any other stories like Forever After? And I'm like, dude! Like, me and Hannah, we're always talking about how there's all these similarities between our series. Like, mention my thing. And they're like, I don't really know any. I'm like, oh. I don't want to be that guy and go mention my own thing because they'll just throw me off anyways. And, like, also, I don't have time to do that. But I'm like, if more people talked about it, then more people would be talking about it. Hannah and I were talking about how Robin and Chase should hang out. We should at least draw them together. And I was like, Robin would bully the hell out of Chase. She would just use him as like a table and just lean on him. What do the CB characters look like when they go into books? Do they look zoned out or are they gone? They literally disappear from the room. They don't just go into like a zombie state like they're just in there in their mind. They are physically in some other place when they're inside the book. So they disappear. Into the book when they go there. What's Forever After? It's another webtoon that you might like. It's a little bit similar to this one. Chase is shorter than everybody. You are welcome, Scruffy. Alright. Yeah, Chase has to go through the consolation meal a lot. Look, I decided to do celiac rep because before I got celiac, I was like, oh, it's that bread allergy, right? Like, you can't eat bread? It's not an allergy. It's a horrible immune disease. There's no cure, and the only thing you can do, there's no medication. The only thing you can do about it is maintain the world's most impossibly strict diet for the rest of your life. And if you're lucky, you won't contract all of the terrible things that you can get from having celiac, like 4 different kinds of the worst cancer you can think of, or other worse autoimmune diseases, or scoliosis, or literally everything. Like, once you have it, you're, like, tipping over the ledge of just going straight down into a million other worse diseases, and the only way to stop doing that is to stick to a diet that I find hellish. Forever. There is no... I was in the store today, and I looked at the boxes of those glazed donuts in the bakery that I was, like, my favorite. I was like, oh, I will literally never be able to eat that again. Or anything in this whole section, or anything from the deli because they cut it on machines that also cut those hams that have that glaze on the outside that has gluten in it, and it might contaminate it. I can't eat 80% of the food at the grocery store anymore. You won't believe how long the list is. Like, chips, cookies, crackers, pasta, pizza, any kind of junk food, any kind of takeout. If it's Uber Eats, DoorDash, if it can be delivered to your house, I can't eat it. Anything in a restaurant, unless it's a specifically gluten-free restaurant and they're not just lying. Because sometimes they lie because they're sick of Karens off the internet going, I have celiac because I don't want to eat gluten because I think it makes me fat, and somebody on the internet told me that if I lie and say I have a horrible disease, you'll get my order right. And they're so sick of people lying to them that they don't even believe us anymore. Certain medications have gluten. Chapstick has gluten in it. Face lotions have gluten. Makeup has gluten. And if a tiny little bit of it gets into your mouth from your face and you swallow it, that is bad. And people have said, like, well, do you have an EpiPen? I'm like, an EpiPen is for an allergy. It's not an allergy, it's an immune disease. It's just... So Chase has had to go his whole life like this, and we were talking about it. Karen has a kid in school, in elementary school, and we were talking about, like, everything revolves around food for little kids in school. There's pizza parties, there's soccer moms bringing in cupcakes for the whole class. Oh, wait, little Charlie Hollow can't eat it. Well... just let him sit in the corner. Can we, like, get him an apple or something while all the children eat the delicious cupcakes? We forgot about him. He's annoying. Oh, he can't eat anything that's made in the cafeteria at all? Oh, he can't have his food next to other people's food because it might get contaminated? Like, it hurts kids when they have celiac because it cuts them off from a lot of social things. Hey, everybody's getting together for a pizza party. Everybody's coming to my house for pizza and a sleepover. And you just have to sit there and be like, it's okay. I didn't want to eat today anyways. But he's always been, he doesn't complain about it. He doesn't, like when he's at the the craft fair, and Silver wants to see what's on the food truck, and he asks them if they have anything at all that doesn't have gluten in it. And the guy says what I've heard all the time, which is, sorry, we use one fryer for everything. And he goes, okay. And then he just eats an apple. I was at the webtoon parties in LA. First of all, we were at LA Comic-Con, and they came around with huge bags of food from this big, yummy gourmet deli. And they're like, we brought you all huge lunches, you know, because you're going to be sitting at your tables all day, you know, working in the artist alley. They put bags in front of everybody, and everybody's digging in. They come to me and they go, oh, Punko, and they, like, open the bag, and she, like, takes out a snack-sized bag of potato chips. She's like, you can eat this, right? And I was like, is it marked certified gluten-free? And she's like, it says... I don't know. And I was like, I'll take it and I'll just Google it and see if it's okay. And then later in that weekend, they're like, hey, we're having a big get together for all the creators at this tavern and we're going to have food and everything. And I get there and they're like, Punko, we already put the food order in and it's all pizza and pretzels and, we have soda. And I was like, that's fine. I didn't want dinner anyways. And it's like, that's the kind of life that Chase lives. And the fact that he never complains about it is stunning because I complain about it all day long. It's hard. It's hard for him. But he doesn't complain ever. He never complains that he doesn't have a lot. He doesn't complain that everything he has in life is a hand-me-down from his cousin Deacon. His computer is Deacon's old computer. His phone is Deacon's old phone. Deacon, you'll notice, has a brand new iPhone. Like an up-to-date iPhone, whereas Chase is using some sort of, like, iPhone 6. That's like a bazillion years old. You can tell it's a very old model. It's Deacon's old phone. Like, he didn't have a lot of, like, new clothes. His bike was Deacon's. We will see this later in the story as Deacon talks about it. But he never holds it against Deacon. He's never resentful that his side of the family has a lot of money. He never feels resentful that he got all his stuff. Chase is an optimist. He's just like, wow, free computer! Like, wow, free phone! Like, oh, wow, cool, free bike! I always liked your bike! I can't believe I get it! Like, he's just a sweet kid. Okay. His clothes are not Deacon's. Well, I think he saved up some of his little pocket money and worked some odd jobs, and now he has, like, a lot of more of his own clothes. But yeah, like, earlier in his life, a lot of his clothes were just hand-me-down from Deacon. I mean, and that's typical. Like, I got all my sister's hand-me-downs. My brother, he didn't have to have hand-me-downs. He's younger than us, but he was a boy, so he didn't get our stuff. Oh, good night, Ruker. I'm glad I could answer your question. Okay, so now, also one last question from RiceGod56. How did Chase's father die and when? He died of cancer, same as my dad. And it was, I didn't nail down an exact date for it, but I would say sometime within like the last 5 or 6 years. So now we're going to get on to questions these are the last set of questions. They're just about specific characters. So we're going to start with Deacon. Solar Eclipse asks, why does Deacon have an obsession with horses? And Cat Reads also asks, what started Deacon's obsession with horses? Yeah, you know that horse girl in middle school? Every middle school's got one horsey girl. Ours was named Nicole Jagir, and she was a friend of mine. They just really love horses, man. Who knows? And, he's just, he just freaking likes horses. Like, I don't know because I was never the horsey girl in my class, so I don't know what the allure is of horses, but... You know, he was just that. He was, instead of a horsey girl, he was a horsey boy. You see the very formulaic books for them. It's always got like a riding club theme, and it's got like a big horseshoe and then the title through it. It's always like a young girl befriending a horse. They should really make horsey books for boys. It's always a young, lonely girl visiting her uncle in the country for summer and befriending a horse that nobody else can befriend. You know what I think? I think it's the prototype to those romance novels of like, this guy's a jerk to everybody, but I'm so wonderful, I can change him. This is like, I can change him, but it's a horse. For like little girls who are too young to be boy crazy, instead they go horse crazy, and they're like, you know, this horse, I'm so special that I can befriend a horse that nobody else can befriend, or whatever. Have a friend that has horses, and hot damn, they are expensive. Where are the horse boy movies? Yeah, justice for horse boys. I posted up a comic in the Discord. I said 100% Deacon, and it was said something like, I just wonder if we're ever gonna see Horse Boy Summer. Well, the horses are really pretty. They have a lot of accessories. You can brush their hair. You can put ribbons in their hair. You can ride on them. They're fantastic. So let's see here. Guys, remember not to put in any spoilers in the chat. Just be careful about that, okay? Let's see here. Ken is a boy in Flicka. There you go. Hey, Deacon is Kenough. Alright, Kat also asked about birthdays. Chase's birthday is in July. Deacon's birthday is in December, and it's one of those birthdays that's so close to Christmas that you get cheated out of presents. You know, like, they're like, oh, we're celebrating your birthday and Christmas. And it's like, no, you should get 2 sets of presents. That is so unfair. You should never do that. When they're like, oh, well, your birthday is December 22nd. We'll just get you extra presents on Christmas. I'm like, that's a lie. You're gonna get, like, 3 extra presents, tops. Children should have separate Christmases and birthdays. Double gifting. My family tries to do that even though mine's in February. So wrong. So wrong. So yeah, Deacon born in December, Chase born in July. Bella asks, what was Deacon's first impression of Buddy and vice versa? Like, what was the first thing each other thought about the other? Deacon probably thought, like, wait, this is the guy who's been bullying Chase? He's not that bad. Oh my god, he is sincerely intense. He just got right up in my face. This guy is intense. And probably Buddy was just like, who the hell is this? Like, wait, they have another key? Who is this? I know the little annoying blondie one, but what's this one doing here? Who is this? How do you know this person? Where did they come from? And other questions of that nature. AOO or 000IFE also, I just want to say, also asked what did Deacon think of Buddy. Also asked that question. It's the LGBT, TEA, asks, who's your favorite character, either to draw or personality-wise? I just like Chase because he's so optimistic, like, and he's such a little dumbass. Like, I like to say that he's not stupid, he's just not book smart. You know, he's more like people smart, he understands people's emotions, he can read people really well, he's a little more, like, street smart, but he's kind of dumb about certain things. He's kind of like a little dumbass about some things. But he's also very young. Look, he's only like 18. He doesn't know everything in the world yet. Who is this with my brat? Night, Nika. You gotta go. See ya. Hey, Beaveritty. I love that about him. Yeah, he tries his best. He understands people more than he understands books or really big words. Or whatever. Like in the newest episode where Deacon's trying to sell him on going to the island, and he's like beautiful sparkling waters, camping under the stars, like palm trees and coconuts, swimming in the bay, and he's like, I love coconuts! And he's like, okay, that was like the one thing we can just get at the store. But fine, yeah. Coconuts. Alright. Scruffy J, if Deacon wrote a book, even a short one, would they be able to enter the story? Yes. But would Chase want to go into a story that Deacon wrote? Klogini, I can't say it. What is Deacon's favorite literary genre? I know he reads romance books, but he probably has other genres, or comics maybe. He likes fantasy stories, pirate stories, an awful lot. He is big on romance novels. He's kind of left the horsey books behind him. He's grown up. He's 20 now. But he still does like horses. He's very into, like, swashbuckling pirate stuff and sea adventures and fantasy stories of that nature. Yo Mama asks, will Chase or Deacon ever get friends outside of the Keys? They have friends. The problem is they're on summer break, so it's a little bit harder than if I was writing, like, a school setting where they would see their friends a lot. Like, they're on summer break and they're really busy doing Key stuff, but you will meet their friends. Deacon has a very small group of friends. He left a lot of them behind when he moved because he originally lived in Sugar Springs and then moved away when his parents moved away 2 years ago. Chase has a lot of friends. He's actually very popular at school because he's just a nice guy. Alex O'Hara. Are seahorses considered a subcategory of horses? Same as unicorns. Is Deacon gonna get mauled by a seahorse at some point? I mean, they are really small. No. Seahorses are chill. They wouldn't mind Deacon as long as he didn't step in their water and mess with them. Pretended Wolfie. Will Deacon ever have his dream girlfriend? You know, he's so bad at talking to girls. He wants to, but he's so bad at it. But I have a feeling he will find love. Really cool name. Does Deacon ever fulfill his horsey dreams? Oh, I hope so. I feel like the horsey question has not yet been answered. Deacon has friends? Well, he's got like a couple of people that he knew in school. But it's a little tough now because he's off doing college stuff and everything. But he has a couple of friends in college. The problem is, he goes to college and they probably go home to their hometown, so they're not from the same place he is. So he probably talks to them online a lot. No, Chase is not lonely. He has lots of friends. Oh, good luck on your test, Ashiana. He'll find love with me. Squirrel asks, Deacon doesn't seem to have an interest in being a doctor, even though he's trying to get into med school because of his family. Does he have a dream job? Deacon does not want to be a doctor. But his dad is a doctor. You know how parents are. I don't think he really knows what he wants to do. I think he's just doing what is expected of him right now. I don't think he really has a goal in mind. Shadow's Mirror. The first time Bronze made Deacon an in-story outfit, he didn't include underwear. Was that petty vengeance, laziness, forgetfulness, or just something none of the keys ever think of? They don't seem to wear any themselves since their clothes are metal. That was on purpose. Bronze did it to teach him a lesson. Because Deacon was smack-talking sidekicks right before they went into the book. He made sure that Deacon could not remove the ridiculous cat onesie. The onesie incident! We should just start calling it the onesie incident. Yeah, no, Bronze will throw some pretty hard shade at people in a very sneaky way. Yeah, do you want to meet everybody? Come here, ding dong. Alright, you can. Come here. Meow. Stop clawing me. Here is a cat. Meow. Here is a Biz. This is the worst animal you'll ever meet. She likes to bite people to get their attention and also to play with them. Yeah, you love biting people, don't you? It's your only way of communicating. Meow, meow, meow. Oh, business. She's a jerk. Nobody like her. She's the worst animal. Immediately full screens. I know, you want to get down. Okay. Even though you just wanted to get on my lap, you want to get down. Worst cat. Our cats are related. How soft is she? Not. Why is her name Business? Her name is Squeaky Business because my friend Pebbles was Pebbles owns a house in Philly, and one day they heard this squeaky noise in their wall of their basement and realized pretty soon after that it was a kitten stuck in the wall, and they had to take out part of the wall and found two kittens that a mother had apparently gotten to the house, had kittens, hid some of them in the wall, and then moved some of them and left the others. And so they had been in there for some time with no food or anything, and one of them was very, very quiet, a little snowball white one, and didn't say a word, but this one, Squeaky Business, was squeaking like heck, and that's how they found the kittens. If she hadn't been squeaking the whole time, they probably wouldn't have found her. And so that was why I named her Squeaky Business. My cat's name is Bug. Biz, my dog, menaces. Okay. Well, I'm not going to tell you about Buddy's type, I'm sorry. I don't even know if Buddy has a type. Okay. So yes, Bronze absolutely shaded Deacon because Deacon was saying sidekicks don't do anything. And Bronze was like, oh, he's gonna get it, but in a very passive-aggressive way. Bronze is kind of underhanded like that. He'll always be he'll just say things, and you just kind of realize that they're kind of a little bit insulting, or he'll be yeah, no, he's very laid back, no big, and then he'll just hit you with a very pointed question. Like when he was talking to Deacon about his family, and Deacon, or his plans for his life, and Deacon said, I know exactly what I'm going to have for breakfast in 6 months. I know where I'm going to go to school. I know where I'm going to go to work. I know what I'm going to be. It's all been planned out. And Bronze just answers, by you? And he's like, well, yes, of course, by me. And then Bronze just lets it go because he feels he's made his point. What, was all of this your decision? The thing is, Silver is also extremely, infrequently passive-aggressive about things. Like, originally, like, people thought that Silver was just kind of, like, a little bit dumb, like Chase. She's actually not. She's just does not like to be impolite, but she can't stand to not say something if she feels that somebody's said something a little bit wrong. When Chase shows her his body pillow, when she's like, who's Alistair? And he holds up the body pillow of Alistair, he's like, Alistair? Like, lead singer of Star Brigade? My total awesome hero? Blah, 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 blah. As if, he's talking as if she should know who this is, when she obviously could not. And she goes, oh, goodness, a pillow did all that? She's not dumb. She doesn't think that a pillow sells out concerts. She knows it's a printed picture on fabric. She's making fun of Chase for asking her a stupid question. But she's like so nice about it that I was like, no one's ever gonna... I think somebody asked a question here that I don't know if I put it in here, where they're like, are there any things that you felt were too subtle for people to pick up on? Things like that. Silver will, on occasion, sometimes throw shade. Like, she's not stupid. She knows what a picture printed on fabric is. She doesn't think the pillow sold out concerts and sings. She was pointing out to Chase, like, oh gosh, I don't know anything about this world, so why would I know who the hell Alistair is? And he was just like, no, oh, never mind. But Chase is kind of dumb that he didn't correct himself. He realized it was a dumb question, but he just kind of let it go. But yeah, she will sometimes get, like, very tiny, tiny little slams in on people. No, it was honestly, it was way too subtle for people to really get that that was sarcasm. Because when she does sarcasm, her face looks totally blank, like she absolutely believes you. And it's very funny. So, let's see here. Okay, so Buddy questions. You've been waiting for that. Vivelli asks, what's Buddy's music taste? Believe it or not, classical. Everybody thinks he likes emo and, like, you know, like really sad, edgy boy stuff. But actually, no. He likes classical music. Razzle Dazzle D asks, can Buddy sing? I told you before, I didn't really want to comment on the exact level of Chase's singing prowess. I will tell you right now, Buddy is a horrible singer. He's absolutely terrible. He's awful. Like, here's the thing. He has a very nice voice. Like, people are like, oh, what's a good match for his voice? I haven't heard one, I guess. Like, I don't really know. I'd have to, like, go and watch some media and think about it. But he has, like, a very low kind of... People have said, like, does he have a very purring, like a purr to his voice when he's talking and he's being very smug? And I said, yes, he does sound like that. He has a very, like, soothing voice that nonetheless kind of sounds like it's smirking at you a little. But he has, like, he can have a very, like, charming purr to his voice. When he tries to sing, it's just a disaster. He has no right to judge Chase's singing and say that it's awful. Like, even if it's good or bad or mediocre, because he's so bad. Yeah, and he was throwing shade at Chase's singing. Yeah, what a hypocrite. He's terrible. Let's see here. Feyera, does Buddy have hobbies? If he can't, ex libris permitting, what would his hobbies be if he could have them? Chase is hooked on his idols and his career outside of the books, but I want to know what Buddy would ideally do when he's not working. This question brought to you by Felix's Knitting. I'll tell you what Buddy would do if there were absolutely no, like, responsibility. Like, if he had nothing to do, if nobody expected anything of him and he had nothing pressing to do, he would do nothing. He would basically just watch TV. He is actually astoundingly lazy in his off time. He would eat chocolate bars and watch TV, I feel, is an ideal activity for him. He is just amazingly lazy. Like, he's very efficient and very dedicated at what he does. We see he always stays in every book. You know, he's like, this is what I do. You know, I'm good at this, and, like, I'm a professional. I will stay until the end of the story. But if he had nothing to do, he would choose to do as much nothing as possible. Now I love him more. Bye, Scruffy! Okay, Abjurd, when will you be confirming that Gedward was killed by a plague of some sort and now haunts local hot topics, eternally searching for chocolate bars dropped by consumers? Or is he haunting, for legal reasons, a top hopic instead? You're a menace. Roach Eater 69, how many nutrient deficiencies does Buddy have in total? You're both menaces. Congratulations. Good job. Within your blankets, is Buddy depressed? That one post where you made 2 glasses of milk and a sad Buddy and 2 cookies on a plate. He's going through some stuff, is all I can say. He's going through some stuff. Rose Fun Gamer. 101. What did Buddy think of being a cat? And somebody named Ellis replied to that, best day of his life, probably. I can confirm he loved it. He loved being a cat. He loved being a spoiled cat, and right up until he got thrown off the boat. Then it sucked. But until then, scratching up people's furniture, getting pats on the head, laying around throwing rocks at people, just existing on a sofa with a bunch of bars of chocolate. Yeah, that's pretty much his ideal. Just put him on a couch and then just dump chocolate bars all over him. See here. Does Buddy have any pets? He does not. No. Which is good, because, well, no, I think if he had a responsibility to take care of a pet, he would. I was going to say he's too lazy to take care of pets. Larry 1, super late because I've been at school, but how does Buddy feel about the nickname Chase gave him? He's never really reacted strongly to it, but I'm wondering if he secretly hates it or something. I think he did not appreciate it at the beginning. Now he's like, well, I'm not going to tell him my name anyways because I don't trust this kid. So I guess it might as well be Buddy. I don't think it bothers him as much anymore now. At the beginning, he was just like, how dare you? How very dare you, sir? But now he's just like, well, I guess that's just my nickname. It doesn't bother him as much. Let's see here. I want to head pet the cat boy. He's the pet. Yeah, he'd rather be the pet. He'd rather be the spoiled pet than have a spoiled pet. Let's see here. Apocryphon, please. Is Buddy a theater kid? I must know. No, sorry. He's not a theater kid. And somebody whose name is actually just 10 snowmen emojis in a row. So I wrote 10 snowmen emojis. Does Buddy speak with a British accent? Because I keep reading him with one and I don't know how to stop. You know what? If you want to think that way, you totally can. Because it's not like he's ever going to be voiced out loud. I doubt this will ever be made into a show or anything. So if you want to hit that canon net, go for it. Beaverity, will we ever see Buddy as a vampire? I think we'll see some vampires. I think, look, you can't just drop the whole Mistonwood movie trilogy vampire thing, Chase likes vampires, and then never have any vampires. And look, that's Chekhov's gun. It's Chekhov's vampire. You put a vampire in the story and say that Chase really likes vampires, there's probably going to be vampires later in the story. And Squirrel asks, what did Buddy think of the slap in episode 13? Chase left immediately after telling him to stay out of his way, and we didn't get to see his reaction. Also, the way he greeted him in Toffee Break makes me even more curious, because I know I would never have the confidence to act like that in front of someone after they slapped me during our last meeting. I think Buddy was actually... I think after getting over the indignity of being slapped in the face, I think his respect for Chase grew just a tiny little bit. Like, I saw Chase as kind of like a little wimp who would just, like, leave every story the minute it got hard. Like, maybe he even thought that Cinderella arc was a fluke. Like, well, he did it, but I helped him. And like, he's like, this little kid, you know, he's just a child compared to me. I'm so much more mature. And he won't stand up to me. And Chase kind of just wailed on him. But he was just like, all right, I'm weirdly a little bit more impressed with that. How close are we to the end? I'll get to that. Okay. Now there's a bunch of general questions. Whoa there, girly. If they were all in a band, what instruments would they play? Chase would be vocals. Buddy would be lead guitar. Bronze would play a very, very tiny set of drums. Deacon would be stage manager because he'd have way too much stage fright to get on stage. And Silver would play the tambourine very energetically by jumping up and down on top of it. Willers asked, what and how would characters dress for Halloween? Oh, this is the one question that I put in here and I actually didn't think about it. Let me get back to you on that. I'll think about it and address it in creator profile at some point. Yeah, maybe we'll just draw it for Halloween this year. Wait, Bronze plays what? I feel like he could play very tiny drums. He's the type of guy to say, you're so young and they're months apart. Yeah, he would lord 5 minutes over somebody. It's just like, we're only 5 minutes, I'm only 5 minutes younger than you. Well, maybe in 5 minutes you'll understand where I'm coming from. Okay. Chase Hollow #1 fan. What would be your face claims for the characters or your dream cast for a Cinderella Boy live action? I don't know because I am face blind. I have prosopagnosia. It is very, very hard for me. When I remember I said I don't watch a lot of TV. I watch cartoons because they're easier to tell the characters apart because they're drawn so distinctly. With human characters, it is very hard for me to tell people apart. I don't know one brown-haired white male Hollywood lead from another. They all look the same to me. Like, all of them. I get so confused in ordinary movies. I'm like, who's that guy? And they're like, you just saw that guy. I'm like, okay, so he's the bad guy. They're like, no, he's the good guy. I'm like, wait, that's the good guy? I'm like, no, that's a completely different guy. I'm like, oh my god, they all look the same. My mom has the same problem. I have had problems where I have not recognized friends that I have known for years because I haven't seen them in a while and I saw them in a place that I did not expect to see them. And they have to be like, Marty, it's me. I'm like, right, sorry. You look like a normal person, you just don't look like anybody I know. It's very tough. I actually go off of what people's hair looks like or like what kind of clothes they usually wear or what their voice sounds like. And so if they change any of that, I get super confused. All right. If your characters had theme songs, what would they be? I only know one. Oh, it's by OKJ. I only know one, and I know it for certain. Chase's theme song, and you should go and look it up on YouTube as soon as possible, is Neon Pegasus by Perry Grip. I'm going to put that in the chat. Neon Pegasus by Perry Grip. And when you hear it, and watch the really cute little animations for it, you will understand. Yeah, there are different kinds of face blindness. There's different, like, levels of it. I don't have it super bad. Some people, they can't recognize, like, their own spouses, like, even though they see them every single day. It's tough. I'd hate to be that. T132, what's the cast's favorite food? If Buddy, Chase, and Deacon could be one color, what would they be? I think Deacon's favorite food is just, like, ramen noodles. He just, like, eats them out of the cup while reading, because they're easy. Buddy's favorite food is obviously chocolate bars. Chase actually, weirdly enough, he eats very healthy. Like, that's not weird. He has celiac. Basically, the only thing on the menu for us is fruits and vegetables. Like, we have to eat healthy because we are forbidden to eat all junk food. And, we can't even just eat, like, bowls of cereal. It's really hard to find, junk food that's celiac friendly. And when you do, it costs a fortune. Here's the thing you might not know. Celiacs actually can get a tax break from the government for food that they buy. Unfortunately, it's one of those things where the government pretends to care, but then puts it so completely out of your reach that nobody qualifies for it unless they have a family of 10 who are all celiac. I don't qualify for it because I'd have to spend like $300 a week on food. But the thing with celiac is the special food that we can buy is so expensive it's not worth it. A loaf of bread at the store for you guys, like a store brand bottom shelf loaf of bread, like $4.50. The same amount of bread in a gluten-free version, $20. You want to pay $20 for a loaf of bread? I have been dying to have a sandwich, but I can't justify paying $20 for that much bread. They actually come in tiny little loaves, and the slices of bread can fit in your palm. They're itsy bitsy. They're tiny, tiny, tiny. And they're like, yeah, all this gigantic tiny loaf of bread for only $8. I'm like, yeah, no thanks. If I want the world's saddest tiny sandwich, I'll just go eat something else. So yeah, Chase actually, he likes a lot of fresh fruit because it's just what he can eat. If he goes into a book, then yeah, he's making a beeline for every single carby, gluten-y thing in there, especially cupcakes, cake. Like, I think he would go nuts for cake if he was allowed to eat it. Let's hope that when you open your Patreon, you'll eat as many sandwiches as you want. Dude, my goal for Patreon is to be able to afford one loaf of bread every single week, whether I even want it or not. That would be magnificent. JMay77, what's each of the characters' favorite story they visited so far using the keys? Buddy's favorite is definitely the cat book. I think Deacon's was still the unicorn, even though the unicorn tried to kill him. Because I think it was just, like, a leftover, like, horsey boy dream of his to see a unicorn. So, like, even though it tried to murder him, he was still stoked about it. Especially since he got away because the dragon ate it. Chase's, I don't know. It might have been one that we haven't seen yet. Or it might just be, like, the first time he beat the Cinderella story. Like, he beat it, like, Final Destination, no items. 80% run. He was pretty happy that he got to the end of that, and that he got to sick a bunch of animals on Buddy. Good night, Doxies. Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, the cat story is the best. I don't know if there will ever be another one. I'm like, look, I love cats as much as the next person, but I have some things in store. I'm constantly striving super hard to get them better and better and better for you. So don't close your opinion on that just yet. Let's see here. Oh, maybe Deacon's theme song is another Perry Grip song, Space Unicorn. Space Unicorn, soaring through the stars. Okay. And the final questions. Fox Mangy, are we going to see books with darker themes in the comic? Guys. It's a comedy. It's a comedy. Like, we're not gonna go super dark. Like, there may be, like, think of it like Gravity Falls, if you've seen Gravity Falls. It's mostly funny. There are some poignant stories. There are some, like, sad bits. There are some bittersweet bits. And there are, you know, a couple episodes of, like, you know, heightened tension and scary stuff. Keep hitting my new mic. But overall, it's a comedy. And it's a, like, you know, it's a thing that you watch for fun, not to get way too intense. Cat licking your birthday cake is oh man, I used to send that to my mom on her birthday. Somebody wrote in a past episode, I just noticed, it was somebody who's commented a lot. They're like, I still don't know what to make of this story. I mean, I'm still reading it to give it a chance, but like, am I supposed to be focusing on the books that they go into? It seems like they're just there as a backdrop for the drama that's happening between the characters. And basically they said something like, this feels like Forever After, but it doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, wow, that's exactly how I pitched it to Webtoon. I didn't really, but I told Hannah that joke and she thought it was super funny. I was just like, yeah, you really should look at the series as sort of like a sitcom where the castles and the storybooks and everything are just a backdrop for the nonsense that's happening in front. And, Oyasimo asks, will there be angst? You know, I don't like the word angst because to me, it feels like a word that means needlessly emotional stuff just to get the audience riled up. I will say that there will be emotional parts that are important to the character growth and the arcs of every character in order to help them learn and understand things and grow. So there may be sad parts, there may be, you know, like thrilling parts, there may be action-y parts, there might be misunderstandings that don't get resolved. If you want to call them angst, you can, but I would not say that I am going to go into any direction where it's just angsty to be angsty, you know? Solar Eclipse 2336. Is Prunella and or her mom going to play a bigger role eventually? Yes, they will. Prunella is coming back soon. Oh, and Race God asks, where is Prunella's father? Her father is actually, he travels for business, and his wife runs the bed and breakfast. Oops. I don't want to listen to Studio Ghibli music. Sorry, I clicked away from my Hawaiian music. There's actually a whole big backstory that I don't think we'll ever get into. Ever. That, it's a little too... I think it's a little too heavy to be addressed in the story. Prunella's mom is actually from the United Kingdom, and she was originally married to the guy who was Prunella's biological father, and she worked a miserable office job, wearing miserable office lady clothes and not allowed to have her little fairy statues on her desk because they were too distracting. Everything was dull and gray, and she worked this job to support basically a deadbeat husband. And one day she just decided she had had enough of him treating her like she was dumb and needed him, when honestly, he was the one who was dependent on her. She was tired of being told that she should just make do with the husband that she has, and she just packed up Prunella as an infant and left him, and decided she was going to follow her dream and start a bed and breakfast and move to the US. And she did, and she had her own savings, she bought this little place, and she spent a whole summer fixing the place up by hand herself while looking after her baby. And when she opened it, one of the first customers was a man who was on a business trip, and he ended up meeting her, and they ended up falling in love, and then they got married. And that is the man that Prunella considers her father. She does not remember her biological father, and we're all glad for that. He was a deadbeat. And there is a bit where she's just like on the phone with her mom, and her mom is like, well, you could have worked it out, dear, counseling could have helped, and marriages aren't easy, maybe if you had lost a little bit of the weight, he wouldn't have been looking at other women. And she just hangs up the phone and throws it across the room. And then she like picks up her little fairy statue that her husband had broken in some angry rage that she had carefully glued back together, and puts it on the mantle and is like, this is my life now, and I will make of it whatever I want. So people think that she's a ditz. They're just like, oh, she's like this silly woman living like a Disney princess. That's the life she wants to live. She believes fairies are real, and she wants to run an insanely gaudy bed and breakfast, and she's happy doing it. And she's doing it for herself. And as much as Prunella like thinks her parents are embarrassing for encouraging all of this, because her dad thinks it's cute too, like, she still loves her parents. And her parents, even though they buy her cute things, they don't push it on her. They're not like, oh, you have to be a girly girl. They let her have whatever she wants. I think we'll see Prunella's bedroom soon, and it's like half girly stuff, half camo. And the girly stuff is there because Prunella likes girly stuff too. She just wants to like it on her own conditions. But and it's like half a little girl's bedroom and half a survival camp. She has a lot of interesting decisions. So yeah, Biz is up there. She likes to hit me with her tail. Okay, angst plus drama equals question mark asked, will Buddy and Chase meet in real life? Alright, I'm gonna give you one spoiler. Yes, they will. Gay Panic. Are there any more characters going to be getting keys? Yes, you will meet more key holders. Within this season and next season. Crumbs asked, will we get to learn preferably soon how Buddy is connected to Ex Libris? You're gonna get a few hints, but like I said, you will know a lot more about it before the end of season 1 is over. Oh, and I forgot to mention, we're at the halfway point of season 1 right now. Like, right now. That's why I'm doing this whole Q&A now. I decided, well, we'll just do it during the mid-season break. That's why I have a 2-week break. It's a mid-season break. Punko, we love you. Look, that's the only spoiler you guys are gonna get. Whoa, they're girly. Are there going to be more characters? There will. There will be more main characters, too, that you haven't met yet. Don't ask why I ship it. Will we ever see doodles of the Silver Bullet Detective AU? Okay, so when I posted up on my creator feed a while ago, like, what would be your favorite AU? Like, alternate universe? Because technically, any book they go into is an AU. But I was like, but a real alternate universe that wouldn't even happen with these characters. Somebody said, like, detective and film noir. If you jump on that, you're dead. You know what? Get off. She's gonna try and knock my drink over. And I was in our Discord, our Patreon Discord, and I was like, I want a story where Silver is a grizzled detective, like a hard-boiled, like, film noir detective, and Chase is her assistant. And, like the cop comes in, he's like, oh, so it's Detective Silver now. Couldn't hack it on the force, could you? Why don't you crawl back into your bottle, you lush? And she's inside a bottle labeled cheese vodka, and she's like, I still got what it takes, O'Malley. And it's just Silver in her regular outfit, but she's got a fedora and, like, a 5 o'clock shadow. She's like, come on, Hollow, let's get out of here. This guy's wasting my oxygen. And the idea was that the series would be called Silver Bullet. I don't know what accent I was going for that cop. He's some sort of pirate cop. Hey, Zinanome, hey, we read your answer to your story, or to your question already. Oh, good luck at school, Luca. She still made a silver in the... Yes, she rides around on Chase's shoulder. And we said that, like, Buddy was like not a femme fatale, but I guess like an homme fatale. He's like a nightclub singer. He's just like, I need your help. Some men have been following me. And, and Chase is like, only one, I'd follow you too. And he's like, knock it off with the skirt, Chase and Hollow. We got a mystery to solve. Oh, that's another question, Caramel. I'm about to get to that. Animal Z005, will everyone end up healthy and happy? The series will happy ending, I promise you. Boo Boo Bun, how many of the keys are we going to actually meet in the first season? That's a good question. Like meat. Around half. Pluto planet. I just finished rereading, so I have some questions. Was there a hint or a clue about something that has been revealed soon that you wish people picked up on, or anything that you thought people would notice and comment on more? Yes, but I can't tell you what it is because it is a massive spoiler. I'm just like, like, I thought more people would have guessed this by now. But on the other hand, there are things where I'll be like, oh, nobody will ever guess this, and they guess it in 5 minutes because y'all are brilliant. So I'm like, I'm always constantly surprised what people do pick up on or don't. What are Buddy's tattoos about? This may be a spoiler, but that reveal gave me heart palpitations. And Basil Eyes says, I can't say for sure, but they sort of look like cultural Polynesian tattoos. Most Polynesian tattoos are highly symbolic and meant to represent the person's family tree, accomplishments, heritage, etc. I know that, and I know that tattoos are highly, highly special to some cultures, which is why when I put the tattoo on Buddy's arm, I sourced it from an artist who was very clear. He said, you can use this as a tattoo design for someone that you don't want them to be culturally appropriating a tattoo. It has no meaning behind it. I designed it just like, hey, it looks like a thing. It looks like it could be some sort of like Islander tattoo, but it has absolutely no meaning as far as I know. And I just made it up so you can use it without worrying that you're infringing on some other cultures. You know, like on something that has a deeper meaning to a culture. So it's fine. The 5 o'clock shadow is drawn on with a Sharpie. She draws it on every day. Silver bullet. Like Napple stole the rights to Silver Bullet. So, Sugar Springs, where it's located, honestly, I don't really have a specific place where it's located. I like to think that it could be located like any town, USA. It could be near you. I don't know. It's like, I know that it's in the US somewhere, obviously. But, it could be anywhere, really. Now I'm rereading. Surprise me! Do the keys have preferred pronouns? Most of them do. One of the keys is non-binary and will not tell you what their pronouns are because they're a little jerk. But I don't know if we'll meet them until, oh my gosh, like maybe season 3. Yes, the second key at the fair was a real key. I was truly passing away thinking about these theories. Gloom, no. Okay. Sorry, I'm just reading your comments. Okay, so, also, Pluto Planet asked, will Buddy ever leave Jerktown, or will he live there forever? Buddy is the mayor. You can't leave a town that you're mayor of. That's wrong. He's the mayor of Jerktown. Are all the keys named after colors? I think, yeah. I think the people at Ex Libris who named them were incredibly lazy. There's angsty fic coming and there's nothing you can do to stop it. You know what? Write whatever you want. I don't care. Any chance to see Top Hat Snail again? Oh, I think we'll see him again. He's too cool not to. I respect him for working so hard as the mayor. He doesn't even get paid to be the mayor of Jerktown. He does it for free. I need my screaming stickers. All right, so those are all the questions. Ooh, man, it's almost midnight. Do you guys want to wait till next week to see the concept art, or do you want to do it right now? Because it is kind of late. It might, well, it may take another 20 minutes maybe. But we can save it till next week if you want. Harley, I don't think I got to your question on the sheet. I think your question was a double of someone else's question. I didn't see a lot of these questions were like a lot of people asked them, so I just tried to pick like the top 2 or 3 people and just put them on there. If I had to name everybody who was asking the same questions, we would be here a lot longer. Oh, you guys are divided. Oh, if Buddy was gay for sure, or if he was like bi or something. Oh, I did mention that Buddy is pretty open to different kinds of partners. Whether or not he would even bother to be in a relationship is up to you. Because he does in the place because he's King Jerk. Shh, that's a spoiler. You literally had an EMT incident and said you're tired. I know, but I'm right here right now. Here, hang on. I've already got it open, so let's just do it right now. I already set it up. I spent all day setting this up, guys. I might as well. Okay, we're gonna make it real big. Real big. There goes Punko. Okay, so I just stuck that up as a placeholder. Okay, don't laugh at this art, okay, y'all? Like, don't laugh at this art. Like, I know, it's like really old and it was just really sketchy and I didn't even know what kind of style I wanted the series to be in. So, yeah, here, can you believe Buddy originally was almost going to wear a hoodie for like 2 seconds. I put him in a hoodie. I think if you put him in a hoodie now, the hoodie would burst into flames. Deacon is blonde, yeah. He had like a sandy blonde hair that looked terrible on him. Look how bad it looks. I don't know what I was thinking. Blonde Deacon. Yeah, Hoodie Buddy and Blonde Deacon are cursed images. And they also, all of them looked a lot younger than they are. People were like, oh, you know, I thought the characters were a lot younger. How old do you think they are now? Look how much young none of them look the age they should be. They all look a lot shorter, too, is the thing. Buddy is even shorter than he should be. Chase is the same except the eyes. Yeah, Chase is always kind of small. Check it out. Chase is the one with the useless belt in the original. He's got a little bit, like, different coloring on his jacket, too. This is blurry. I kind of threw them together from different sources, so some of them are a little bit more blurry. They look so much younger. Buddy looks homeless. Originally, the little patch on Deacon's sweater had a C on it. And somebody asked me, because it had a C all through Canvas, too. They said, what does the C stand for? What school does he go to? And I said, the C stands for college. He goes to college. Look, after driving myself insane thinking about stuff for Stagtown, I am no longer putting in that much of an effort on small details. Just college. The C stands for college. Okay, so, originally, okay, I had to cover up some things because they're spoilers. When I say seasons 2 and 3, here's the thing. The main story we're talking about right now, like everything that we're reading right now, goes up to season 2 and then has an ending. A lot of series are written like this, where you give the publisher an option. You can't say, I want 47 seasons, because they'll be like, what if I give you 47 seasons and nobody likes it, but you've got like a contract to give them 47 seasons. So in order to really sell a series, like make it more appealing for them to pick up, you say things like, oh, you can cut it off after the first season and it has a good solid ending. Or you can cut it off after the second season and fans will feel like they got a really good ending. But, you know, if you really want like the full story and it does well, I have material for a third season. And I actually have material up to a 5th season, but I don't know if I would ever go that long. I think 4 would be stretching it. Maybe. Watch me like 6 years from now when I'm on like season 6 and I'm like, well, I'm a liar. I want money. I want to be able to eat. But, so yeah, this is covering up 2 people you should not see until season 3, but, oh, some nights I just lie awake thinking about the 2 people under this block and thinking, oh my god, I cannot, if I don't get to do a season 3 where I get to introduce them, I will retcon them to put them into another show. Like, I will put them in something. I am not letting them go. I love them so much, I can't wait. Like, not that I don't love everybody else, but funnily enough, when I told other people about these 2 characters, like, because I ran this past a focus group of friends and some, like, former readers of mine that have been longtime fans, and they heard about these. Everybody's reaction was, I love everybody in the series, but these 2 I like the most. Can you not just put them in season 1? And I was like, no, they have to be in season 3, but oh my god, I'm dying. Dude, you guys are screeching? I know who it is, and it's killing me. It's gonna take me forever. So, no, you will love H. You definitely will. I can guarantee you. Everybody, even my mom likes them, and my mom doesn't even read the things that I write. She's like, oh, Mary, you did a really good job on this. I'm like, did you even read it? She's like, no, but I knew you probably did a really good job. Even she likes them. And they're like, that's the thing. I was like, even my mom is a fan of them. But every time I show them to other people, everybody's like, oh, those are my favorite. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, but we gotta get everybody else too. They're like, oh yeah, no, we need everybody else too. I can't wait. Like, tell me when those 2 come out. I almost said it. I can't talk about it anymore. But look, originally Prunella was not a survival expert. Originally, she was a conspiracy theorist. But then I realized she was way too much like Jeremy from Stagtown. Originally, she just believed in UFOs. Jeremy has a lot of weird theories, but about everything. But originally, she believed in UFOs, and then I changed it. So instead, I changed the alien on her shirt to a compass. But funny thing, the last episode of Stagtown, where the Stagtown cast meets the cast of Cinderella Boy, you can see Jeremy wearing this shirt. It's actually just like a weird little Easter egg. Grandpa's so angry. Oh, he's angry for a reason. Right? Why is he angry? He's angry at this alpaca named Trevor. Originally, instead of a horse named Boris, he had an alpaca named Trevor that he bought because he was going to harvest the wool and then knit a sweater and then throw it in Diane's face like, I made an alpaca wool sweater by hand. Top that craft, Diane. But the alpaca was so mean that he can never get near it, so he's now in like a weird Cold War standoff with it. He's like, I'm going to shear that thing someday. But it was just too wily. But then, for some reason, I decided a horse was better. Trevor is a funny name for an alpaca. Maybe we'll see him like standing around in the back of a book or something. Prunella looks so young in these. Prunella is between 6 and 8. She is very small. So, here's some more sketches of original Chase. He doesn't really look like himself very much. It's kind of messy. Look, when you don't know what style you're going to do a series in, you just it's just like pushing mud around. Like, you're not like, you just don't know exactly what you're doing, right? Oh, no. Children in their underwear. Or adults, but they just don't look old enough. There's original Buddy before he got an even lower neckline. Because I just thought it was funny. I was like, why not just push it? These are their original heights, but they changed. Because they just look way too young in these. They just look like actual, like, younger teenagers. And I was like, they just don't look like grown-ups. Smug Chase. These are some, like, test faces. I didn't really like them very much. I like better what I do now. He doesn't look good in these at all. Mm-mm. I'm gonna get that that alpaca. Oh, another person cut out for season 2. I wonder what you're gonna think of them. Can't wait until they get introduced. I know who's under there, and I'm like, I wonder how they're gonna feel about that person. But these are some princes. Well, it's 2 princes, but I was trying to decide if I wanted his hair up or down. And you will meet these guys shortly. They actually got names. They're one of the few princes who got names. No, nothing about Buddy's real name. You're just going to have to wait. I did say that you will know it before the end of season 1. Most of the princes don't have names because this was the first prince I designed, and I had a backstory and everything. And then I was like, wait, I need like 10 more princes for like the next, like all the montages over the next couple episodes. I gotta start cranking out princes. And so I made up what we called our Prince Folio, our Prince Folio of Ports, where I just started cranking out prince. I said to my friends, like, just give me like a theme. And they're like, fish. And I was like, okay, fishing prince. He loves fishing. Let's design a costume around him. And they're like, flowers. I'm like, flower prince. He's super into floral things. Let's design a costume around him. And they're like, bread. I'm like, bread prince. Okay, got it. He's got bread rolls for epaulets. Let's do it. And started designing, like, just cranking out tons of princes for the first 2 seasons. And then was like, actually, you know what? We might want to get away from just the fairy tale prince stories later in the series and do different kinds of books. They don't usually do longer books. The reason they stick to fairy tales isn't because, oh, everybody loves going into fairy tales, but because they're short. If you have to do an entire novel, like from start to finish, that's hard. That's going to take all day, like maybe even like 2 days. Yes, you will see these guys. Yeah, Buddy was not mean enough looking in his original ones. He looked way too gentle. He just looks like oh, hey, how's it going? He was not smirky enough. I had not dialed him up to 11. He had that personality. His face just didn't match it. You know what they say about big bread epaulets. I love Chasers so much. I'm 4 hours too late. Oh, Londamora, we read your question and everything. Don't worry, you can watch it back. I'll post it up tomorrow. Yeah, he's got that pretty Hanfu look going for him. But oh, by the way, somebody asked, like, are the storybooks that they go into real? No, they are not actual books. Like the Princess and the Pupil and all that. That's supposed to sound like The Prince and the Pauper. But they're not real books. They're supposed to sound like them. And like, you know, like Castaways of the Britannia, that could sound like any Robinson Crusoe-like story that came out after Robinson Crusoe. When Robinson Crusoe came out in the 1800s, the market was immediately flooded with a bunch of look-alike island castaway books. Like, copycat book trends have been around for hundreds of years. Like, all the TikTok girly reviewers think that it's a thing that's just now happening in, like, romantasy. They're like, oh my god, like, book trends, everybody copying, like, each other's novels. I'm like, no, that's been around literally since books existed. They had a word for it called, Robinsonade. It meant books like Robinson Crusoe. Yes, I did already decide on a real name for Buddy. Everybody's had names since 2022. We have to make it to Mordor. Yeah, and Buddy is Golem. This is awful. Yeah, like longer books just take too long to do is the thing. Like, fairy tales are short and sweet, so you can get through the whole thing very quickly. That's why they tend to stick to them. But I'd like to see them go into different kinds of books, maybe like short novels. Robinson A! See, you got it. If they went into a strictly all-male book, it would be, I don't know, might be tough for the keys to find a place in there. Last picture, this is an original sketch for Silver. I don't know what's going on with her. I think her original design later became Mrs. G's actual design. She's got like the bodice and like the fluffy around her sleeves and like the little tail on her supposed apron. Honestly, I like calling him Buddy. You know what? I know his real name and I still call him Buddy. I still feel like that's just kind of his name. I don't know what's wrong with Buddy. I think it's a good name. But, yeah, this was the very first drawing ever. Buddy just fits. Do they have to complete a book in one sitting? The idea is that they get more narratoned if they can get through the whole thing. Buddy isn't actually a real name. It is. It is a real name. So, yeah, these are just kind of the original idea. Oh my god, I am embarrassed at Blonde Deacon. Oh, you know what? I think we're missing one. Are we missing one? There was an original version where Deacon had glasses, too. No. I guess I didn't put it in here. Maybe because it was drawn on top of something else that was a spoiler, and I didn't feel like separating them out. He had glasses, too. And then I said, nah. I also changed his shoes to loafers because loafers are more collegiate and because they're very different from Chase's shoes. But yes, Chase, in the canvas version, he had ash blonde hair and green eyes. And I did not like the way it looked because the green of his eyes clashed with the teal of his jacket and the parrot green of his shoes. It was way too much green. So I changed his eyes to like a honey brown, but then when I changed that, they suddenly clashed with the cooler ash blonde of his hair, so I had to change his hair to a warmer golden brown. And then, because he had brown eyes, Deacon had brown eyes, and I changed his to blue. And like, it was like a weird like domino effect all down the line. But Prunella was always kind of the same. She just looks like she's half survivalist, half Cub Scout. I'm just glad Deacon always had freckles. Yes, he always had freckles. Even in the lineup drawing of them, you can see he's still got his freckles on his shoulders. But yeah, they look so wonk. I can't believe Buddy is in a hoodie. What in the world? What in the world? This man would never wear a hoodie. He wouldn't be caught dead in a hoodie. How did you come up with Prunella? Honestly, I heard the name in a cartoon years ago for some like minor random character that only showed up once in the background. And I thought it was so bizarre a name to hear in a cartoon where like if it was a throwaway character that's just for one episode, it would just be like Katie or, you know, like Sarah or something, and they came up with Prunella. And I went and looked it up and I'm like, oh my god, that's an actual name. But yeah, Prunella is a real name. It's just not a very popular name. It's not one of the more popular Ellas out there. Was Chase shorter before, or is he shorter now? I think he's the same height, but they got taller. Everybody else got taller. And he looks like the dream of every mother-in-law. Oh, that's wrong. I feel so wrong. Now, the funny thing is, I absolutely did not know Deacon was a name. I came up with it because I decided his nickname should be Dorkin. So I came up with the nickname first, because I was watching, years ago, a show called Ed, Edd and Eddy, and there's a character in there named Kevin who calls everybody dorks. Just everybody. Everybody across the board is dorks. I'm gonna take this away now. And at one point, somebody says something to him, and he's like, yeah, you heard me. And he's like, I have no idea what you're dorking about. And he's like, oh, you know what I'm dorking about. And I thought that was just a very funny word. And so I was like, his nickname should be Dorkin, and then let's work backwards from that and come up with a name. So his name was like Dustin, Darren, and a bunch of other things. And then I remembered years and years and years ago, I read one of the Harry Potter books. Is it the third one where they all go to that like dance? Like they have a formal dance or something? I forget. It's been ages, like what, 15 years? But I remember there was a line where they were describing the outfit that Draco Malfoy had. It was like formal robes. And he said that it had a really high black collar that made him look like a deacon. And I just randomly remembered that quote, and I heard the word deacon, and I said, oh, that's a great name, because it sounds just like Dorkin. And also, it's just a cool name. And then I looked it up, and it's a real name. It's not only a real name, it's becoming more popular as a baby name, like right now. Like in like 15 years, there's going to be a bunch of teenagers running around named Deacon. It's weird. Dorkin is the best name. There are no pineapples in my area. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go now because I have in my fridge a coconut. I want you guys to know, when I started the island arc, I was like, man, I really want a coconut. Because much like Chase, I love coconuts. And I hadn't had one in forever. And I was like, no, I am gonna wait until I finish the island arc in order to have my coconut. I want to experience the joy of coconut along with Chase. But I was like, that's like 5 weeks. I waited 5 weeks to go to the store and buy a coconut, and I just bought a coconut yesterday. I'm like, I'm gonna have it today. And I do have mango, yes. The coconut is making a guest appearance. Oh, I should have brought that. You know what? Next stream, this time next week, I'll show you. Remind me in the creator profile. I have to show you the half a coconut with eyeballs glued onto it. That was my late cat Sevi's favorite toy. I still have it, and Biz likes it too. It was like his best friend. It was half a coconut with giant googly eyes on it. I found the half a coconut in the street, cleaned it, threw googly eyes on it for some reason, and my cat loved it. I was hoping you'd get your coconut. All right, I'm gonna go to sleep now, guys. Blessed to be Sevi. Yes. Never eat an actual coconut. All right, I'm gonna go. I'm going to post the entire stream. It's just going to take a while to render, probably. But thank you very much, guys. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for all your questions. Thank you for waiting the next 2 weeks until a new episode. I'm going to go look at tonight's episode and see all the people saying, why is there no new episode? Why is there no new episode? I post things, guys. I post in the end of that episode, in the creator feed, in the comments of that episode over and over. People are busy. They don't have time to read all that. I understand. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Thanks very much for showing up. And don't forget, tomorrow we're going to have brand new art, as usual, on my creator feed. So be there or be square-shaped.
Bye, guys.